made by many of the teams currently on the outskirts.
Completely right. Making plays, Team 13, basically smack bang in the middle there. They're going to be feeling pretty happy with themselves. And of the top 4 or 5 teams in here at the moment, I'd say Method, who have Pachinki 2 themselves, are going to be reasonably confident as well. I think they got a UAZ in the middle of Pachinki 2, so they will be able to move if absolutely necessary. But you're absolutely right, Dutch. There's about probably a 60 to a 70% chance that we're going to see things on the main island rather than dip into Sosnovka. So those teams will be sitting pretty, and it'll be up to everyone else. I think there was someone in Zarki. We've got people as far up as Kameshki. Ninjas in Pajamas were heading up there. There you go. Sweater on the mini-map in the top right. These guys are the ones who have to decide on their timing for coming in. Yes, they have vehicles, but the timing is so important in a circle like this. If you're the last ones in, expect everyone else to be opening up the shooting gallery.
Exactly, and angles of approach need to be considered here as well. 2 bridges will be going into the land, and we are also seeing some gunfire coming down from the southeast early. Fairly inconsequential at the second, but that is one of the earliest rotations that we're going to be seeing so far. Team 10, great people early. Helu is going to be driving that UAZ. He's taking a few shots here from Kaigod, as we predicted earlier, but he's essentially going to get himself into a nicer position to start this off, a better angle of which to approach this circle. So when we take a look at around Milta, that's where we've got such a high concentration of teams currently within the close vicinity to the circle. So we could be seeing some early action start up if these guys run into each other on that early rotation. Gent side up over by the prison at the second. They're going to be starting their early rotations, moving around, getting a nice and easy entrance into this. Method, however, 2 players starting early, starting a move, and we could be seeing them come head to head with making plays.
Very close now to Squad 13. We are running in danger now of making plays, losing someone early, but they can't quite spot him over the crest of that hill as things stand. In fact, they're actually focusing on Tauzara inside that house there. Andy extremely close right now, but he has got help, and I don't really think Furza is going to be rushing on him. There's absolutely no point. And they're going to be making their way out on the motorbike. It's hard to tell how many people they're facing there. So on top of that hill, where you can't quite see over the lip, it could be 1 person down below and another person out in the house. It could be 3 people down below, but you make yourself extremely vulnerable if you go out to check. So not a position they want to be in right now.
Of course, and a good shout, just making sure that the 2 players getting away from that. They've got the information that that compound is going to be secured by another team. No need to push at this early stage of the game. Keen, on the other hand, also just trying to hold down this compound. Going to be shooting at Team 14 as they go past. That is Penta Sports. Now, one thing to bear in mind about Penta, as we said at the head of the show, or at least the desk did, one of our teams with an incredibly high rate of points per game. These guys are currently 3rd place in the league for that.
That's absolutely massive, because consistency is the name of the game in the long term. It's great that you can win the occasional game. It's really nice to get the glory of standing on the top step of that pedestal. But at the end of the day, what matters is being able to get those points time after time after time. I am a massive fan of Penta, and I'm looking forward to watching them continue a run, hopefully today. They have been a great team to watch. They're also very aggressive when they need to be as well. So in addition to just being bloody good, they're also very entertaining.
One thing with Penta, I will never forget, we can never miss out on just the absolute barrage of nades that these guys coined very early on. We did see when we last got to cast them ourselves, they managed to get some pretty hefty nades going through, so we could be seeing some explosive action going forward. Zulul from team number 1, Finstack, will be moving past team 13. Compound at the second. He's going to be very safe in this. Got the buggy, going to be going very fast here as he's just moving into a better location going forward. Of course, these early rotations are going to be quite hefty as we take a look at just where these teams start to find themselves out.
He got a little bit lucky there, actually. Making plays only had 1 person out of 4 in position to take a couple of shots. And right now we see alternate attacks trying to maybe get Lowry very, very close to going down there. He had to abandon his vehicle and park out on the cliff. So that could be a little bit worrying. I think that, oh, pardon me, that's not alternate attacks, that's Method who are closing in, and that's at least a 2v1 situation. But we've actually spotted making plays, now taking shots at Method. So this has suddenly become a 3-way fight.
And that's Calvin Klein, the man with the M16, just going to be taking a lot of shots down at that Dacia, but one person already pulled out of the driver's seat. That's going to be Raz Mickey, taken out very quickly. Niels also on his last legs at the second. Raz, no chance to move forward in this. Niels just forced onto the floor. The gunfire still coming down in his direction, and he is in a dire situation here. Just going to have to med up as quickly as he can before making a move forward. Where can he go to, though? His teammates are to the south, but he will have to move through Method. One player so easy to cut out of this game. And Team 3-1 are going to be taking casualties very early on. Gentside, however, the beasts from France are taking some excellent fire down at this UAZ as it's just moving its way through. Andrea hitting some incredible shots with that 8 times. The Scar doing a lot of work. That's going to be absolutely huge. 3 kills secured by Vic there.
Absolutely beautiful stuff. Sustained fire also taking out a tire halfway through that barrage as well to limit their maneuverability. Means that as the UAZ moved left to right, it gave them an opportunity to line up the shots as they were effectively within the scopes, going left, right at a very small angle to where they were at. So that's really well executed by Gentside, and they deservedly get the wipe on everyone inside that US.
Gentside currently 4th place in the league, 4 points per game. And I have to say, I slept on these guys early in this league. And now I'm a true believer. These guys have surprised me time and time again. Their positioning, their aggression, their measured use of aggression at that is absolutely phenomenal. They had a great position there. They used that position, and they backed it up with mechanics to secure 3 kills very early on. But this is going to be Jambon also trying to make as much as he can from this, trying to take shots down onto NIP, but X in that UAZ going to be getting through those trees very niftily and getting away from any danger. Unskilled, not living up to their name on that one as they did get some damage down, but NIP will get to safety and they're going to be heading over towards the cliffs as Hollywood also still scouting out on these cliff tops, just trying to get as much information as possible. Borg, however, next in the line for the shooting gallery. Bresco trying to find as many of these as he can, not able to hit too many at the moment in time, and Borg, he's going to be drifting out there. He's taking quite a few hits. That's going to be the shoulder hit there, but almost taken out of the car. Still alive just by the skin of his teeth at the second.
Quite literally, the skin of his teeth is the only part of him that hasn't taken a hit at this point. That's a very interesting parking spot, but he does save, I presume, on hourly rates. So Borg in a little bit tricky position. He's going to have to find his way round the cliff there until he can rejoin his teammates. And obviously, oh God, he's actually got quite a long way to go for him to get a stretch of beach where he can climb up. And like we were saying earlier, Dudge, this is the stretch of the game where we have to decide, ooh, hang on, Sweater coming under fire as well on the right-hand side from Havu. He manages to just about nick away. This is the period of the game we have to decide at what point do you come into the circle, early or late. And it looks like everyone who's coming in now, well, if they waited longer, it would just be even worse. But there's no good angle of approach here. You haven't seen anyone come into the circle yet that hasn't had shots fired at them.
There is still that uncertainty going forwards as well. We could still get the Sosnovka circle as our blue zone is just currently moving in. We'll have about 10 to 15 seconds more before we get to see where the game is going to guide us forwards. Now we can see that most teams have found themselves secure lodgings within the circle, or at least lodgings where they will be able to temporarily keep and then move on to should they need it. Of course, Reaper of Points and his squad here just moving over, trying to get a more central position, but they're going to be running straight into Pony Rider and co. Anonymous going to be taking huge hits here. Dodo on cut, getting Alexis on fire down onto the ground very early on into this one. Anonymous seeing the rest of the vehicles at just looking for those shots. Not going to be taking them, however, as Team 8 are going to be picking up their first kill of this game. Alexis taken out a little too early, and that's going to be Nookie also taken down onto the ground. Not a successful rotation from these guys at this moment in time. Reaper of Points is going to just run away and hopefully reap the points of a placement now as Team 9, quick math, are taken down to 2 members on their first rotation.
And these rotations are, they dictate what happens in the final circle so much, because you get the teams that lose 1 or 2 members suddenly having to play completely differently. You can see Reaper of Points just completely split up from everywhere else. The car that blew up earlier, where we saw almost the first squad wipe take place, that was Finstack, guys. They're a really good team, and they're going to be fighting out just to survive at this point with so many of their team members and firepower just completely down at the moment. So we're now taking a look at more shots being taken in. I think Colran just came in with the UAZ, but he was able to survive through about 3 different people shooting at him. We can hear him off now to the side of the compound. It looks like he'll be able to get here relatively safe for the side of grey people only.
Exactly. Taking a look at Gent's side at the second, our French wonders who managed to do some great work earlier on with that car explosion. They've got themselves a nice wooded area here, so cover from all directions. We can see the car park as well has been established for them. Close to them, however, is going to be making plays. Team 13, they'll be making a bit of noise here as they try to hold their own compound. They're looking over at Tindergold. Now, bear in mind, Tindergold, second place in the league in terms of points per game. So we know these guys know exactly what they are doing. Pretty sure they have all 4 members left alive still as well. They have the eyesight to try and take a look at making plays, but whether they're going to be able to get anything out of this will be the question at the moment. Just going to be the poke battles early on, as our next circle will be establishing itself very soon, as Blue Zone encroaching once again.
And Tindergold having a relatively quiet game so far. We haven't really spoken about them much, and it's because they had a decent position just north of the bridge. They were perfectly happy to hold it for quite a while. And they're doing all the right things right now. The next circle, they're still very comfortable. They can just keep holding the compound, keep playing it out until some of the teams start falling, because all 16 teams are still there at the moment, as Moonwolf get another kill onto Cup of Magic off the screen. And yeah, just playing a very quiet, very sensible game, getting that position early on, which is so important, because those teams that are running in, getting shot at in the vehicles right now, they're having to find compounds that aren't taken. They're getting what's left over.
One of those teams, Ninjas in Pajamas, currently underneath the bridge, and we can see that they have plenty of teams surrounding him at this moment in time. Method will be to their north. We also have Team 5, Tindergold, taking that lighthouse position. Hollywood just stepping onto that beach early on and trying not to take any damage as he's just scouting out this area. I am Larry from team number 3. We'll just be inside the water, just having to play this out a little bit by himself. He's not going to be making anything here, but he has the information that one team will be close by, so he can take it or leave it and see what happens next. Hollywood looks to be securing either the boats or just some nice position for himself. Who knows what Hollywood wants to do at this moment in time, because I sure as hell don't.
Well, he was just going under the water there, Dudge, to see if he can spot Larry from a distance, sees that he's there, goes straight back up onto the beach and tries to chuck a frag. We'll spot that frag is just a little bit short, though, so he just keeps running along looking for the closest possible distance, and that's why Larry, at least a moment ago, was actually going away from the mainland, trying to make sure that he goes out of range. Alternate attacks, though, getting hit by squad number 7 up north at the moment, unskilled, looking for an opportunity to grab a kill. They won't be able to succeed at the moment, but Kygod was in a very vulnerable position indeed, going straight past Havoki. But remember, Havoki has several teammates down, I believe, at the moment, and he doesn't want to give away a position unnecessarily. Kygod skids, and that gives enough space for Tomil to take him out. So there we go. Tomil, Luxno, and Co. Penta, ladies and gentlemen, will be able to pick off that kill.
And alternate attacks taking our 16th place position for this game. Not going to be the result that they were looking for, as we're coming up to our third circle here, and 50 players still left alive. Gentside currently on the outside, just taking as many shots on the out of the circle as they possibly can. This will be Moonwolf that we're taking a look at the moment, however, taking a lot of fire, and that is not going to be going anywhere soon, as Snake taken out of this nice and easily. Brexco doing some great work with that vehicle explosion, as he's just going to regroup with the rest of his team now before they move on their merry way and try to find some better positioning for themselves. Carry this game on. 49 players left alive.
Method coming very, very close there to Brexco, but they are driving away as things currently stand. He's moving up to the compound where Method are busy getting themselves nice and comfy and laid in. We'll see if they end up staying here or move elsewhere. It doesn't look like they're leaving anyone behind. And I don't think, because of the high ground, they're quite in range for a couple of pot shots. So they should be fine from this team, but they're going to have to drive through a few more soon.
And that is just the nature of the game, unfortunately.
Ooh.
Look at that flip as Team 4 going to be failing their driving test, but making sure that they look absolutely incredible. Oh, no! That's not what they wanted. The crazy cage man is going to be taken out by the vehicle explosion. Chris will be following him shortly afterwards as Team 4 Method take huge casualties going forward here. Is anyone... Where... Andy's the only person left alive here. He's got a hill position, but he's just going to have to play for placement going forward. And we know he can do this himself. 15 teams still left alive here as we're going to be going over to the west. Sosnovka, unfortunately, not going to be in this. Drainus now taken down from Team 12 as Mumino and squad making their move forward. Avangar going to be bringing their dominance back in with them. And Keen will be just picking his own teammate back up. Mumino pushing down onto Gentside as Kailank taken down. This is going to be a very dangerous position. Looking over the lip of this hill now as they're trying to find as many shots as they can. 4 times on Mumino as he's looking left, he's looking right. Andrea taken out of the fight as that's Gentside, who I praised so heavily earlier, taking 15th place position to an incredibly aggressive Avangar there.
The caster curse is real with Dudge this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be getting his predictions for who will go up first in Game 2 very shortly, I'm sure. But I just want to talk about that vehicle explosion again for a second. They had the high ground. It was very difficult for anyone to get knocked out of the car. The team then made a decision to say, forget trying to get the headshots. Everyone go for the car simultaneously. And that was the play I confess I didn't think was possible given the range there, but quite clearly it was. And all they needed, I think the straw that broke the camel's back wasn't the vehicle explosion. It was, once again, taking out a tire, sending the vehicle into a spin. This was after it front flipped. And as soon as that spin happened, they become a static target from someone who's far away. They're no longer weaving left and right, and they were able to finish the job. So extremely well played there. They just did something that, frankly, I didn't think they could do from that distance because I thought only 1 or 2 of them even had sight of the vehicle. Well done.
Worst case scenario, they are still denying resources, taking that vehicle away from another squad here. Team 13 making plays. We'll be taking a look over at where they've just heard a lot of noise, and they're looking directly over to Avangar at the second. Question on our minds at the moment needs to be whether Avangar can recover very quickly after a team has the drop on them. They are very close to the circle, and it looks like they'll be making their early move so far. Circle shrinking once again, however, and we're going to be going northwest on this one. Still a few teams inside that area, but rotations needing to be made from multiple squads at this moment in time. Anonymous is going to be taken down this as we go over to the east side of the current zone. Pony Rider for Team 8 will be just looking for more at the moment in time. He's got a teammate currently down. Team 10, Great People Only, are going to be swarming this compound at this moment in time. Pony Rider in the 1 versus 3 at the second. Pretty much an impossible situation. We'll have to see how he works through this, but the rest of the duo from Team 8 just up on the very northeast side of the current blue. No support coming in for Pony Rider at this moment in time. He's got himself a nice prone position, but he may be taken down to the floor more permanently very soon.
So while this is going on, I have a feeling that Helu is going to be leaving him alone just for a sec. Pony Rider doesn't mind if no one comes into the building and we don't really see an engagement here. That's not a problem as far as he is concerned. Squad 4, oh, Method actually coming up against Penta. We have to take a look here because the third squad is actually moving on.
Oh, Andy!
Massive 4 vehicles coming down now as well. And that is Method Andy going down. Keen. Oh my, Drainy's taking out Keen. That's a teammate there for Avangar. A little bit of an awkward situation. They probably just hopped out too quickly as they got into the compound. Noctiv goes down as well. Mumino is going to have to find a way to revive him, but all sorts of line of sight going into that house right now. He doesn't bother close the door. He's just going to go into the bathroom, use a smoke to try and cover a little bit. Hopefully he doesn't get fragged and get the rest of them up. Avangar, we're not expecting that coming into this compound at all. And you know who else is reeling from this? Penta.
Difficult position from both squads here. Both teams taking casualties, and Penta versus Avangar at the second. We're talking about 2 incredible teams going head-to-head, and oh my goodness, what a headshot! The quick flick going through as Drain is able to take Luxno down onto the floor at the very beginning of this. That's going to be advantage playing directly into the favor of Avangar as they're coming back from LAN, and they are looking to make their mark on this game. If they can cook this chicken dinner for the very end of this, we will be very happy to see just how consistent these guys can start off this. Drainus going to be peeking around the side as he's looking for Team 14 even more. Tomil going to be able to return fire a little too quickly there as Drainus is dropped onto the floor too quickly for this. And look at this, circle still moving in as well, so pressure on these squads. It's 12-14, 2 even numbers, and we're still talking even numbers of squad mates here.
While we are watching this squad, by the way, making plays has been completely taken out by Ninjas in Pajamas, who I believe were slightly east of this as this battle rages on. Now, this was a three-way fight, I should point out. Penta and Vanguard successfully took down the number of squads to 13 earlier by taking the squad out that was attacking here as well. Keen going down at the moment. Ultra looking like he's going to be taken out of the game completely. And now more grenades going towards Luxno and co. We're trying masking the footsteps so that they know that we can go ahead and make those rotations and try and get a flank onto Penta. But right now, the Vanguard having a little bit of trouble. The counterattack is good. Tomil, that was a headshot as well to start things off. That's going to be excellent because Luxno is going to take ages to get round to him to revive.
Bit by bit here, a Vanguard being given an inch, taking a mile, as this team are asserting their dominance over this compound. Penta, outmatched, outgunned. We're going to head straight into this replay. Look at this. Drainus, quick peek, quick headshot, straight away, 8 times at less than 100 meters across. And Penta are reeling from this at the second. 4 players from a Vanguard still left alive. And Team 12 here, which is a Vanguard, of course, will be taking as much as they can. They have a central position, but they are surrounded. One more squad looking to make their mark in as Team 10 coming through. Keen gonna be going straight in, getting 2 more kills straight away as a Vanguard, getting the Michael Bay effects going straight in with this. Beautiful work, but they have sustained 1 casualty here.
That's always going to be the case in a small circle with a compound. You get people interrupting the fights all the time, and that's just awkward for a Vanguard at the moment. I think a lot of what's going to happen there will come down to where King Kevin is, because he's a single player at the moment, shifted away from the other 2 members of his team. He gets a sick flank in, manages to take 1 or 2 down, they win the fight. In all other circumstances, a Vanguard take him out of the equation by going around the side and him not having line of sight, and they're able to win a 3v2. So a lot of this comes down to team comms, where King Kevin, where King Kevin even, is going to be coming in. And he's down at the moment, so there you go. I predicted that while it was off screen. I should probably point that out. And unfortunately, this now means the advantage is permanently in favor of Vanguard there.
Unskilled on the top of the hill, though, and I would add that is their team name. I'm not calling them out in the slightest here. Team 7 on top of this hill still have 4 members available to themselves. They've got 4 kills going forward, so they have been proactive as the game is moving forward, but their positioning is incredible here. They're going to be pushing it down onto Mikaz from 1 here, solo player, and if they can take him out of the equation, they are going to be covering their own flanks quite heavily. Zargin just looking for it, trying to find whatever he can. The hunt is on, and it has been initiated. Mikaz going to be running into this one. He doesn't quite know what's going to be greeting him at the top of this, and
Mikaz
the trap has been set. Zargin not looking in the direction. Look at this, so close. Passing ships in the night, and they're not even going to say hello to one another. Very difficult going forward. Still, however, Team 7 Unskilled have all 4 players left alive, not giving too much of their position away at this moment in time, but they do have players around them ready to play spoiler, and 8 teams
they must see him now.
In such a tiny circle now.
They must see him now. He is so close to them. Thankfully, the hill is actually sloping downwards very slightly. He needs to take out Maydai. I mean, he can't possibly stay here for long without getting noticed. This is going to be one of those incredible, unlikely stories, isn't it? We're going to be looking back at this moment later in the game, and we're going to be going, how on earth did he do that? Has he ditched his backpack as well to keep a lower profile? Yes, he has.
He has. It's so incredible. Playing this Snake game, playing for survival, it's not a bad way to play it. Of course,
I love it.
It may not be the most entertaining, but playing for placement is huge here. And still, this compound is on fire and awash with damage at the second. Anuctive going to be picking up another kill as Jambon with I'm sorry if I pronounced that awfully, is going to be taken down onto the floor, bleeding out very quickly. Elastics taking quite a lot of fire at this moment in time. We could be seeing one of Unskilled going down. No, looks like we do have the res coming through, but NIP on the other side of this as Martin going huge, taking Hollywood out of the fight straight away. Borg next to fall down onto the floor. Veglur, he's looking to find any more he can. He's got that mini. He's got just the weapon to do it. And not too far between them, so this is definitely possible. We're not talking poke damage at the moment. We're talking getting people out of the game entirely. 19 players left alive, and X's position is compromised heavily at the second. Sweater looking to play medic, but they will still have to move into the circle. Lots of pressure going forward. Martin taking a couple of dinks there as he moved back to some different cover. Veglur taking the shots now, and X taken to the ground. Beautiful work so early on into this.
Tindergold versus Ninjas in Pajamas, and if you take a look at where the circle is, Ninjas in Pajamas were the ones that had to push in, so they were in a very frustrating position indeed. Tindergold having a nice position, coming once again up towards the compound where Avangar have just been making a name for themselves, but Penta are still around, and oh dear, this is going to be an instant down, spotting him from comfortably far away, and what's worse is, they're not even sharing a house with Avangar, they're sharing it at the moment with Penta. They've got no idea, Dudge.
This two-stack is stacked at the second. Technically 4 players in there, just not a whole team if you get where we're going with this one. Keen and the rest of his 3-man squad of a Vanguard now. They're going to be keeping an eye on top of that hill. Gunfire coming down almost immediately into this one, but they're going to be trading it up onto the northwest side of this. Looking for that house, looking for the gunshots, looking for anyone they can take down. They're looking for this dinner.
If they start shooting out the windows on the bottom floor, Dudge, and then that prompts these guys to go upstairs and walk into Penta, that's going to be brilliantly hilarious. I'm looking forward to that. Wow, very nice vision there, spotting Unskilled through the flames of that burning car at the moment. Even seeing Mikas, who's very close by, so maybe getting involved in that fight from very, very far away. And Team 7 still trying to finish everyone.
What's going on here? What is this? Mikaz playing solid snake here. This is...
I feel like at the point they see him, I'm waiting for the... I'm waiting for the screen to go red, for everyone to start running. What is...
Elastic.
No.
Gonna...
No.
Oh.
This is play the game. Right
I'm
here.
Lost for
this
words
is
here.
by far.
Oh, he's just turned around.
Mikas just earned himself 1,000 fans. That's all I'm going to say there. Beautiful.
Goodness.
I tip my hat to
Mikas coming into the game. Beautiful work there. The rest of Moonwolf, however, lost for words, just as I was in that trade and that engagement. They're going to be moving down onto the west side of the next circle. Still Team 3 having to make a very long movement going down, but Avangar still in prime position, not needing to move. This compound being secured is really being a boon for them at this moment in time.
It is indeed. People have to push into them. They've gotten a bit lucky with the circle as well, and the next one, as you can see, is going to cause them to be extremely lucky here. 3 members, not 4, but they have a supreme position right now. Rest of Tindergold attempting to move in, actually catching Drainies by surprise a little bit. He goes back behind the wall to where Keen are, but gets spotted by Team 16, and Moonwolf will be able to down him. That is not ideal, and suddenly they're trading bullets on 2 fronts.
And suddenly the action just coming to a fore even more, as we do have 4 teams left inside this game, 8 players left alive, and everybody getting closer and closer together. As Penta, they're going to be moving in from a different angle. They have some smokers coverage at this moment in time, and whether they're able to just get themselves fully recovered in a position to breach, clear, and do it clean, that's going to be absolutely huge going forward. 8 players left alive, keeping this nice and quiet as they realize that Avangar are in combat with a different squad at this moment in time. They could be playing vultures now.
Team 16 with 3 people left. Moonwolf, everyone else with fewer, to my knowledge. A little bit sad, I think, for team number 7, Unskilled, who had all 4 alive. And while we were watching some of this action, they all died, sadly. Action going on now as Tomil gets taken out, which I believe means that Penta are down to a single person. So Luxno going to be holding all the cards here as they attempt to get themselves, hopefully, into the top 3 and then on to win the game.
See if they're able to play those cards in a way which is going to win the hand entirely. Everybody's still playing for that dinner. 4 teams currently inside this. And if we are able to get down to a top 3 position, we're going to be seeing this light up even more. Moonwolf taking quite a lot of damage through that chain link fence. And, well, Edgicars, he's still trying to poke behind that tree, but Keen has his number. If O'Connor is able to get into this one, that could be pretty huge as well, but everybody's still needing to move into a new position. Look at this, 9 kills currently on a Vanguard. As Keenan and Anuctive, they're going to be looking to carry this on, carry this forward, and take the momentum into Game 2.
Momentum and consistency, so important. The teams can actually afford a second to think about that now, because they've gotten themselves into a position where they will be guaranteeing major points for their squad, and a good position going into game number 2. All of the top teams by points per game. I mean, it's a tricky situation. Some of them went out extremely early. We're down to the last few now. Moonwolf go 1 light. Oh, and Educar's going down as well. So that numbers advantage is suddenly turned into 1 person left on their feet. It's only going to be O'Connell. Luxno spotting Keen, taking him out as well. That is a long-standing grudge between these 2 guys. They have been in the compounds forever and a day. And now we're about to have it play out. Excellent shooting. Their first shot to the head. And Keen goes down.
Luxno and Washout in very close vicinity to one another. We do also have Martin very close by, so this is currently 3 solo players looking for this. We have Team 16, Moonwolf. Team 14 is going to be Penta, and Team 5 is Tindergold. So 2 teams we expected to be at such a late game scenario, and, well, we're going to have to see whether it's Moonwolf here to play spoiler at this moment.
You know how Martin has taken all the vowels out of his name, and therefore he's MRTN? Could he be Martin, or could he be Martian, or might he be Morton? We might never know.
I think this is something we're probably going to have to ask him at some point in time, because I definitely do not have the answer to that question. One thing I do...
There's no incentive for anyone to move as things currently stand, because what you want to do in this sort of situation is make a move when you know when the other 2 people are. So if you know you're going to peek around a corner and no one's going to come up behind you, it's fine to try and go for that 1v1 engagement if you know where that 3rd person is. No one does at the moment because they're all stuck in a different house. So as a result, there's very little incentive for anyone to move in case they get backstabbed right now. So this genuinely could go down to the circle becoming a point.
And of course, we do have to consider that these guys are not going to get any more stacked from this one, so we do have Washout just making sure he gets that full med going on. The Vector going to be pretty huge in these close range combat scenarios, but of course it's getting into the close range, which is the difficulty here. And as you said, no incentive to move, so top 3 scenario is going to be on the knife's edge for a very long period of time.
So let's talk what happens if the circle does go in, right? Yes, okay, we have Penta, who are technically closest to the center of the circle, but all of them are going to have to run out into the clearing. And if Penta has someone on his left and his right, Luxno there, then it's actually going to be more awkward for him because he could get shot from either side. In theory, you want to be at the edge of the circle moving in. This is going to come down to fastest finger. We're going to go to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire here. There's really no other way. You spot someone, the first 2 shots have to be to the head because you need to be able to whip round the other side of you and spot someone else. I think in this position, I probably prefer to be Moonwolf. I feel like Luxno and Martin have a direct line of sight to each other. The doors coming out of the houses face each other, so they're likely to hit each other first, which means Moonwolf is in the best position to come by and pick up the leftovers.
Looking at Washout as well, he is trying to make those very small movements forward, just inclining himself into a better position, a very unexpected position at that if anyone is going to be moving towards him.
Well, yeah, that's not a solid floor, for starters.
Moonwolf's magical. That's all I can say for this one, but taking a look at Luxno as well, he does have that corner position inside the kitchen, so once again, still no real incentive to move forward. He's covered from most angles going into anything else. Martin, exactly the same scenario. These guys, something's going to happen, something's going to have to give, and we are going to have to wait on that circle to finally give way. We'll just quickly head into a replay as Keen from a Vanguard, look at that quick track going around, able to pick up a nice set of kills, but We had a lot of action leading up to this, and now we're going to be having a little bit more action as the circle moves forward once again. Luxno leaves the building. He sees Martin, the gunfire coming down, and that's going to be Luxno taking second position. Penta secure it for themselves. Going to be running with the circle as Washout. He's not moving at the second, and that's going to be it! Washout able to pick up the first place from the late movement. Beautiful work from these guys as they pick up 10 kills on that dinner.
And exactly what we predicted came to pass, ladies and gentlemen. Martin and Luxno, the exits of their buildings were facing each other. They were in prime position to engage each other as soon as the circle started moving. And Washout was in a beautiful position to calmly wait. He even used a first aid just to give himself a couple more seconds to be able to come out behind and pick up the leftovers. Leftover chicken is still better than no chicken. And as a result, Moonwolf are going to go ahead and win that game. Really nice finish, even though there wasn't much to be done for the last couple of minutes. Really technical stuff there, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot for the deck to talk about. We have the Vanguard compound where Penta engage. We have the great positioning by Unskilled going into the third or fourth circle, which I feel like is going to be one of the sort of unsung heroes of how well this game played out for them. And then, of course, Mikas, who can forget what he did. Absolutely fantastic stuff as Solid Snake in the final circle as well. A lot to cover. Desk, back to you to break down that game.
Thank you very much, Jorasar and Dudge. A wild game number one for EU today. I have to say, I'm pretty impressed that Moonwolf able to pull it off, get the first place. I thought they were in probably the toughest spot on the map going into that second to last circle, especially with a Vanguard putting so much pressure on them. Cameron, I'm going to go to you first. There's a lot to break down, so take it away with whatever you will.
So this was a very, very, very brutal game as far as circles are concerned.
Yeah.
From the very beginning leading up until the end, these were very non-straightforward circles at all. Like in the early game, rotations were absolutely brutal just because of where the compounds were and just the style of terrain that was in it. When you get to the mid game, even though water was largely removed, still a large chunk was a field. And then the coastline, which are basically no man's lands still, no matter what. Even though it's not the same thing as water, you still don't want to be in there because there's no cover and all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
And so it was very chaotic leading up into the end. Ultimately, I think AVG did a really good job of taking that compound. They were given a little bit of help from Penta because I think it was quite greedy for Penta to try and hold that compound as a 2-2 split, where they when they were holding that way, and that's what allowed AVG to basically drive a wedge into the team. It was a very extended fight because Penta were making sure not to overpeak, AVG were making sure not to overextend onto one edge or the other, but ultimately they were actually able to gain those two buildings that they ended up in at the end because Penta lost control of that area. Penta was actually in that area first and had to pull away from it into the other side of it. But then when AVG got the end, they kind of overextended on their own end, because they tried to hold two buildings with one player each when they were only taken down to two, which was another greedy play in their turn. Very nice play by Moonwolf. I liked Washout's flank near the end. Unfortunately, it didn't happen soon enough to kind of allow the rest of his teammates to come down that hill because, as you said, they were in a very brutal position right there. But the fact that they were able to put one player in there at the very end, we get, unfortunately, the stereotypical ending where everyone's just waiting because no one wants to push out because people have very little information because of just the amount of building that's in that final circle is very unfortunate for this. But good job by Washout, once again. Well-timed heal to come in very late, which is a risky play. But he saw where the circle was about to end on, knew that it was going to be open game, and had an open shot from his upper angle that he had. So with the well-timed heal, able to get a good victory for his team.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Poro, I'm going to give you a second, just whatever you caught from that game, and then I actually have a question for you, so feel free. Go ahead.
Sure. I mean, I think that what we just saw was textbook classic Vanguard. I mean, it's high kill count, high
they look
aggression.
Good.
I mean, you saw. I mean, at one point there in the fight with Penta, I mean, I saw a Nuctive peeking in a 1v1, just constantly peeking the same wall with no helmet. I mean, this is kind of ballsy play that these guys are kind of known for. But as they say, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, and that's kind of what happened to them in this round, where they had 4 men up and engaging in these big drawn out fights that eventually just kind of took their toll over and over again until finally they end up going out still top 5, but before they could manage to bring home the win. And another, obviously, you got to give the shout out to Mikaz. I mean, that was probably the most ridiculous snake play I think I've ever seen. I mean, Elastics. Yeah, look at Elastics. He's going to need some new underwear after this one. Can you imagine how freaked out he probably was?
That's actually very important because I had a completely unrelated question.
He placed above them.
Well, here's the thing. Mikaz waited for his other teammates to go down. And I don't know if, I didn't realize this right away, but, it happened, and I was sitting there, and I was like, okay, Mipa, shoot your gun. This is a free kill right in front of you. Shoot your gun. And the moment the other players from, if I'm not mistaken, Unskilled, were downed in the fight against Moonwolf, Mikaz immediately unloaded his gun and wiped the whole team. Just by getting that final kill, the full team was wiped because they had already lost their fight on the other side. And it's almost like in my head I'm thinking does Mikaz, is he sitting there reading the kill feed right now and he knows the 4 players on this roster? That's what was going through my head. I was like, does he know the players that are on this roster and he just timed this so perfectly? So
there's no way to know. There's no way to know what roster he's staring at.
Divine providence.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is I was like, how? It was just the timing was way too perfect. The way it worked out. Now for Avangar, I love the way they play because you said it. It's a top 5 finish, and that's what's so important. If you're gonna play full aggro and you're gonna get 10 kills on average per game and a top 5, you're gonna be sitting at the top of the leaderboard 100%. So Avangar coming in 9th in points per game out of our 40 teams. So not, where they want to be. Obviously, they want to be a top 5 team. They really want to be the number 1 team, obviously. But if you're going to finish a 4th place with 10 kills every game, you're definitely going to be fighting for those top spots. Now, my question for you, Poro. Those 1v1 at the end, final circle, 3 different buildings. The way the final circle works, in case some people may not know this, is it picks a random point on the map after I think it's 3 minutes now, and then that's where the circle closes. It is not center. It's a very large misconception. A lot of people think that it's center. It's not center. It picks a random point. So went all the way south this time. Moonwolf had the furthest to go out of everybody and is able to pull that off. What is the strategy there, Poro? If it's you, what do you think these players are thinking? Is it just kind of one of those you run out and hope for the best, or?
Well, where Moonwolf, where Washout positioned himself was actually, I was really happy with the way he positioned himself because he kind of allowed himself to remain hidden for a while there. But I can't say I'm 100% sure. I'm 99% sure that you can hop onto the roof up at that point that he was kind of right next to. So I think that by hopping onto that roof, he knew he could be able to give himself a little bit more vision around and kind of have a little bit more free roam. Whereas, the other 2 guys were having to make their way out of buildings, hoping that they could vault through a window or maybe get through a door. And you could see that that's kind of how Penta ended up getting the kill onto Tindergold.
Yeah.
Was he was already taking some damage from having to make his way through the house and get out the door, and then finally once Penta had no idea where he was, so he had to run to the point, and Washout had that great positioning up high to kind of oversee the entire area and get the shots off. I mean I thought it was a great position for him, and being able to get that heal off.
That's what I was saying. The delay,
the shots. And it's been a long time since I've been in that late circle, but there's a little bit of punch that goes on with that. I mean, you're when the circle's hitting you, it's hurting, it's punching.
I want to say
it's giving you the
15 for us, PUBGOnline, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say it's 15 damage per second that the players are experiencing, if I'm not mistaken, something along those lines. So it is. I mean, it does its damage for sure. For those of you who can't math, that's 75 damage in 6 seconds. So that's
either way, that's a really high stress shot to make, and he made that shot from a pretty decent range and to win the game. So good on Washout for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Cameron,
yep.
I have to say, A few teams there ran into a little bit of problem, all right?
Yeah.
First of all, obviously Method, they had a rough rotation into the zone. It's a tough zone to push into. I don't think that's the fault of them. I think everybody going across the field, you have to hope you don't happen to drive past other people as you're going through. There's no real way to know. But I want to talk about the way NIP moved because I actually loved it. And I don't know, like I've said a couple times, we've talked about NIP because they do some unorthodox rotations sometimes, very long, drawn-out rotation. It's true. They're in no rush to get to the zone a lot of the time. And they actually jumped in the water in the second circle immediately.
Yeah.
And I understand where they pushed to. They pushed towards Method. There was a lot of pressure in that area. Drive right off, get in the water. But they swam all the way west to... What is that little beach town? Ferry Pier, thank you. And then came up. And if that zone doesn't go as far north as it did to that compound, I think NIP's in a great position in this game.
No, I definitely agree with that. They were forced into the water because of all the aggression out onto them. They came in very late, a little ambitious of them to come in and try and what looked to be get a central position so late into the game, especially considering how much land was actually viable because of the water, and you don't want to go into South Africa Island so early in a circle like this because the chances of it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so they got pushed into the water because they were taking quite a number of shots. You saw Borg, he had maybe like 5 HP left. So it definitely wasn't. I doubt it was their initial.
It was not
decision to
ideal
go towards the water. Yeah, exactly. But once they were in that position, they stayed in the water because there was no reason to leave the coastline because they would have gotten cut down any earlier than they actually did. And in fact, they did get cut down eventually. It was later on into the game. I think they ended up getting around 8th.
7th.
Around that area. 7th, around that area. Yeah, because they ended up getting spotted out by 2 teams. I think 2 members of Tinder Grilled as well as Moonwolf. So they walked into a little bit of a crossfire from that. But you're right. They would have stumbled accidentally into a pretty good position if the circle didn't swing up onto the compound that it did.
Yeah, it was a very, I just wanted to mention because it was such a something out of nothing moment where if that circle doesn't go north of that compound, that's a top 3 NIP game there. And that would have been really incredible to come over so much adversity, swimming for 10 minutes in the game, taking a really long rotation. And keep an eye, if you guys are in the chat, just keep an eye on NIP and their movement because it is strange. It is very unorthodox. It is not a normal rotation. And sometimes it does pay off. And just, you'll see them go all the way around the circle, north to south, time and time again. It's really wild stuff. But, of course, we're about to get into game number 2. Obviously, we're doing 4 games here. It's PUBG Online. EU Split 1. These teams are fighting to get into showdown for Split number 2. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. 3 more games today. Let's hop in to game number 2 right now with Dudge and Jorasar.
Thank you very much. Very handsome desk this evening. Going into a game 2 now. Once again, you're joined by myself, Dudge, and joining me for this one is the wonderful other Brit in the league, gonna be Jorasar. How are you looking for this one, John? Because after game number 1, I really need to cool down after this.
Absolutely right. There were some really tense situations all throughout game 1 as we see a kind of 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock sort of plane path there. By the way, I just want to say, I love how in the last 30 seconds before the desk throws to us, the music sort of starts to swell and come up from the background like it's Jabroni's Oscars acceptance. And in a couple of seconds, he's going to get booted off the stage and he desperately needs to wrap it all up. What a pro. What a handsome, handsome pro. Exactly. We're into game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. This is PUBG Online. This is the Showdown series. Jorasar and Dudge bringing you all of the action here. And we have a very, very even spread of teams going left to right on the map right now. It's quite pretty. It's almost synchronized.
Almost, but a very shallow plane path is going to be opening up the car plays. If these teams are able to find a car along any of these roads, we're going to be expecting teams to move to the north, try and find zones which the plane path cannot reach. Of course, with this one, Sosnovka Island was very much open, but we're only seeing two teams plus 1 extra player going into this one. Plenty of teams heading towards the Georgia Pole area too, but as expected, we're seeing a lot of these players heading for vehicles, and that is where we're going to be seeing what rotations these teams would like to be making.
Tindergold has Novo to themselves. They're going to be pretty pleased about that. And alternate attacks, once again, goes Milta. So obviously their preferred spot. This time around, they're going to be neighbors to Moonwolf. So absolutely no change there. They're slightly further than before. Our first circle has just popped in on the map, though. Relatively central. Severity is in it. So it's taken a little bit of a northwest kind of tint. The entirety of the river coming across Erangel will be within it. And maybe aside from the guys who've gone military base who generally expect to get in a car anyway, no one's really going to be complaining about this circle too much at this stage.
Exactly. So far, so good, except for a Noctiv who, well, is he going to be recovering from this? That was a lot of flips, but Reaper of Points and the rest of his squad are going to be noticing that, and a Noctiv from a Vanguard is going to be a very early casualty in this game, and that's a feels bad man moment because a Vanguard looking to prove so much coming into the online leagues, and to be taken out this early into the game, that's just, it doesn't feel good.
It was going so well for him. 3.5 backflip. Unfortunately, fluffed the dismount, and that's going to be that. Noctiv is going to get taken out of the game. Reaper of Points. Wow, with a shotgun up the backside. I mean, dude, like, there are more humane ways to do that, okay? That's all I'm saying. So the first kill of the game there, going the way of Quick Map.
Very brutal to start this one off, but one thing we have to bear in mind with this circle, not going to be too much water in play, so with the amount of land available, we could be expecting a slower paced early game, but once we get into that late game stage, we're going to be having a grand old time, and it looks like vehicles are proving very difficult for our teams tonight, as NIP, another veteran team, and a very, very veteran player of the Battle Royale scene, Sweater, going to be falling off the back of that motorcycle and just being forced to be picked back up. Going to be difficult heading forward now.
It's the ultimate feels bad man at the start of a game. And that's actually lost them quite a lot of time because they've gone to Zarki and North George to loot. So the amount of time they spent getting off the bike, picking people up, having to find meds and use them. When the circle is going to be closing in as well, and they have to go to the edge of the map, you actually lose a little bit more time too. So they're not going to be very pleased with that at all. The good news is they have Zaki to themselves. So between the four of them, they should still get enough loot to be competitive.
Of course, we do have to ensure that these teams have enough time to loot, and 2 minutes 30 is what they're going to have available before the blue zone starts encroaching and showing us just where this game is going to go. Sweater, first thing on his shopping list is going to be some medical supplies, of course, and Zaki, very empty at this stage in the game. It's one of those places that people just forget exists. I know I do myself, and, well, how many times have you been to Zaki since playing this game from your first drop?
I'm going to have to give a little bit of an awkward confession here, Dudge.
Oh, crikey.
I tend to go northwest edge of North George / Zarki as a bit of a try-hard spot when I'm aiming for rank in squad games. So I've actually gone to Zarki a reasonable amount.
I'm pretty speechless.
I like it. I mean, you have the sort of like courthouse-style buildings and apartments that you'd often get in Yasnaya, for example. There are plenty of multi-story buildings for you to go to. There's a couple of warehouses up there as well. You can get up onto some high ground, so you see people coming in long before they come in, and very few people go to the outside of the map after landing as well. It just ends up being such a safe loot spot. I personally love it.
Well, NIP are going to be agreeing with you on that one, as it looks like they will have their fair share of loot. Early rotations starting to come through, as many of these teams have found vehicles. So Team Method heading themselves over towards Ruins, another spot we don't generally get to see too much of. But considering this is going to be on top of their already pretty hefty loot coming out of Pachinki, I mean, this is just a nice little extra going forward, and Team 8 also going to be getting some extras. Anonymous picking up the AUG. That's
very nice,
a pretty
indeed.
Divisive weapon, to be fair.
No, it's very useful. Okay, good. It almost looked like they ran around it and left it in there, and I was kind of like, what? I did note the compensator in there as well. That's good. You ever get like the odd care package with an attachment that doesn't fit the weapon? Like, it'll come by, the org will land, you go, that's great. And then there's just a tactical stock at the end of it. You think, well, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? Is this my melee weapon?
And then sometimes there's the super disappointing ones, the Kar 98 with the compensator. You're just thinking, oh, why? Just why?
Exactly. So I feel like there's a care package lottery, and somewhere off map, the guys decide when the plane takes off, right, today we're going to see what's in the mystery bag. And you get all sorts of weird stuff. But it did work out for them on that occasion. So Team 8 are going to be very happy with that acquisition.
Of course, some very divisive weapons that are inside those crates. And one that I've been really growing to love recently has been the MK14. I'd love to see one of those coming into the game. It's just such a brutal weapon. Essentially, the SKS, incredibly strong weapon going forward. How about an SKS that also doubles up as an assault rifle and has much more damage to it as well? Plus, it sounds absolutely gorgeous.
I kind of think of, you know how, I sort of equate it, imagine an SKS that does more damage with the recoil of a Mini 14.
Yeah, no, that works.
And it's just like, and you chuck a comp on a Mini 14, and that's kind of what the Mark 14 feels like. And it's just laser guided, and you're right, people don't use the Mark 14 thinking that it's a great up-close and personal weapon, but it basically is. It does so much damage, you can effectively treat it as a rapid-fire shotgun. It's delicious.
Absolute brutality. I know the other one that we have a few advocates for here is the M249. I'm starting to grow on that one as well, and thinking of the M249, just the amount of shots that come from that weapon. In games like this, we can often see just people picking up the ammunition, leaving the weapon behind. But at a close range, that thing is absolutely godlike.
It is. Imagine a situation where no one has frags and you want to keep someone pinned. You know you never have to reload for the entire duration of about 6 different engagements. There are so many CQB situations where the M249 is just godlike. So I can't see people leaving the weapon and only taking the ammo. I'd be surprised if that happened in this game. But, you know, stranger things have happened. This is a wrangle after all. So we'll wait and see. Not too much action, by the way, in the meantime, in terms of the circle. Aside from a ridiculous frag from Stab. Nookie from, wow, getting Nookie from downtown. I think that was next to a vehicle that he was crouching behind as well. So the vehicle also blowing up. That was really nice from him. And his teammates are nowhere to be found. They can't get to him.
Excellent timing on the call that not too much action is coming on for this one as well.
We're competing cast of curses tonight. Your move.
Exactly.
Your move.
Well, Stab has got the angle on the remaining players here, so not going to be approaching this just at this moment in time. Not from that angle, at least. He'll just be moving around the outside. This church position from Method going to be very strong, as the crazy cage man trying to look down on that compound, look through the trees, and look for these players. Reaper of Points is in on his sights. Alexis on fire, taking a dip and having a very flashy health bar in this one. He needs to get to safety, and it looks like that will be the call from the rest of the team as they head towards this water. And Nookie just going to be our second casualty for this game so far. Pretty slow starts.
Yeah, I feel like the squads got reasonable positions inside the circle. If you think about the squads that had to run a long way from outside the circle, which is completely the opposite to game number 1, by the way, and I think the desk is going to be talking about this a lot. We have Brexco. Let's take a look at the left bridge. Never mind, hold that thought for a second. We have a little bit of bridge camping going on here. And Moonwolf look to be involved as well. They're going up against Tindergold, and at the moment they are winning. Someone already down, that's Vegler. Milord and Taylor, who's on half health, will be able to spot Milord from it. That's beautiful. That's a kill onto Cup of Magic, and I think that was from... Oh, hang on a second. No, that's elsewhere on the map. I beg your pardon. I thought that was a headshot onto Milord for a second. Just flashed away at the right time. Snack should be able to get this kill if he snuck around to the left-hand side, but Vegler is now up as well, and the fight's been reset.
Snack is in a compromised position here. His shots rang out, and his position is going to be known. He's going to be flanked on straight away, and Taylor taking advantage of that situation very quickly. That will be the finisher coming through as Moonwolf sustaining very heavy casualties starting off, and Educos forced to run along the beach here. But no closer to getting position inside this circle. They're going to be very delayed as they move forward, and the blue zone still encroaching forwards. Moonwolf's washout will be bringing over a vehicle, and he will be able to pick O'Connell up as well. So the push now coming through. That's the finish.
Washout manages to get away in time, but unfortunately the frag does take out his teammate. Really nice push and really good pressure from Tindergold. Milord coming in from the left as well. Washout needs to heal right now, but he has to hope that it is enough time to get the first aid off. This is the problem when people get into positions like this. You're outside the circle. There were no second chances here. And if the teams end up taking several people out each, well, there aren't going to end up being any winners. Moonwolf finishing maybe worse for wear compared to Tindergold on this occasion. But both teams have depleted meds. We obviously have several people down. And they're still going to have the circle to contend with. So really not ideal for either of these teams, even though Tindergold have 4 remaining.
Managing to trade out and get to safety, Moonwolf will be starting their move very late on this one, and Gentside once again lighting up the map. They've taken down multiple members of Ninjas in Pajamas here. The vaults are starting to come through. Andrea and the rest of Gentside with 4 members pushing on to Borg now. Borg in a very compromised position, and that will be NIP taken out of the game incredibly early as Gentside with a clean sweep all the way through. And these guys, on it, it's amazing. These guys came out of nowhere almost, and their dominance is phenomenal going forwards.
That was rather brutal, I have to say. Gentside taking out all 4 members, and I believe no one was lost from them as well. So a very clean takedown of Ninjas in Pajamas there. They're going to be extremely happy knowing that they have this compound all to themselves. The main action elsewhere, of course, was on that bridge camping situation where Moonwolf lost out to Tindergold. I really thought Moonwolf had a good position early on in that engagement, but as it dragged on, Tindergold were able to turn it around and get all 4 of their members up and in great flank positions. Team 7 getting very low there. A lot of people shooting at him at the moment, but unskilled somehow for the second game in a row. I think this happened to them last game as well. Just snaking it through on those vehicles, completely unscathed. And they won't lose a team member as they rush through.
Finstack not hitting enough shots on this one, but they do have a very good position. So that's one thing to take into account. And also, Team 7 will be returning some fire onto the top of this hill now. So unskilled, just moving in, getting a fairly good position.
They've got the DP-28 there as well, right, Dudge? And at the end of the day, 47 shots, full auto. If you get too close in a vehicle, you can blow stuff up real quick with the DP.
Exactly. Not the best parking.
No, it's, I feel like that's possibly more than a minor on his test there. And obviously a dislike for fences to add to that as well. But Mayday should definitely not be your designated driver on a night out. That much we've learned so far.
Maybe he's already been drinking. I mean, this is one thing to...
he is driving, and we are a responsible stream. So...
Excellent
but
parking
you're right,
inside. Maybe just maybe. Just maybe. But moving into this one, they are surrounded from 2 angles, as Finstack will be up to the northeast, and we do also have Quick Math down to the southwest. So there's just one member of Quick Math as Havoki keeping in a scouting position. The rest of his team on the bridge in that central island, so fairly split going forward. We are seeing some gunfights going on around here, but as the circle is getting smaller here, we're getting more landlocked, we're getting less and less land for these teams to hold for themselves. Taking a quick look at the map as well, look at how many compounds are going to be taken out of this once the circle moves in again.
True.
Let's get straight into the gunfights.
Oh, and Calvin Klein managing to get it down by the looks of things there. Vegler going down to a headshot. He's going to have to boost up behind a tree. He's taking cover from Squad 14. They're quite a long way away, though, is Penta, and I think only 2 of them actually have a position on him at the moment. His teammates, it's a little bit far. I mean, they might get the occasional knock, but there are enough trees nearby that they shouldn't be too worried about having people permanently taken out of the game. What Penta are doing at this point is they're saying there is no way you're getting any closer to these yellow houses. If you do, you genuinely will start getting people taken out. So Squad 13, they're making plays, might have to come up with some different plans.
Plans abound, as these guys will have to make another one very sharpish. Circle now moving in once again, and next play zone will be presenting itself to us. We're going to head north inside this and look at how many compounds have just been taken out. Looking at how many teams are down in the southern side of the current circle as well, there's going to be a lot of homes having to be evacuated very soon.
So, you want to cast a curse prediction, Dutch? The team that's going to see a lot of the action very shortly is a Vanguard. We're going to see a lot of teams try and either cross the river or go across the bridge where they are right next to the compound. And I think they're going to be shooting an awful lot of people in about 45 seconds.
Finstack already starting to get their shots through as the DP-28 is going to be raining through the air. Not too many of those shots are going to be landing onto Gent side as that was a successful rotation for them. Zulu still pushing, but he's pushing in to 4. He's pushing downhill. Very dangerous position coming through here. The car park going to be set up by the French squad, and Andrea the first to be taken down and out of the game entirely. This high ground position proving incredible here for Finstack as Vic is next in the line of fire, already taken down to half health, and that's Zulu still trading as many shots out as he possibly can. Nades starting to come down, going through the trees, and this could be
Bit
another...
short, I think.
Just a tad.
Yeah, it actually goes a lot further down the hill if he aims slightly higher. So on surface, it looks like he missed by a long way. He really didn't. Just a slight adjustment to his aim, and he might actually nail Gen's side there. So a little bit unlucky. They're going to keep going for it. Still 4 people on the side of Finstack. And it looks like Gen's side have got a little bit more entrenched in their positions now. It's a little bit better. They're not all huddled around the same vehicle. The smoke's also doing them some favors as well. Zulol in an excellent position, and he does have the DP-28 as a secondary weapon if they choose to make way in the vehicle.
Egidorp looking to trade back, but he's trading uphill into 4. 3-man squad currently of Gent side. Not able to find too much from this position. They are pinned, and the odds are stacked against them at this moment in time. That's going to be Egidorp losing his helmet straight away, having to make a run backwards and taken out of the game. Azulul having his number and having the shots to win this one forward. Gent side now down to 2 members, and it looks like Vic, from the furthest position away, is probably going to be in the better position, not being too close to this one. He's going to trade some shots down onto Timmy Z, and Timmy is going to be very quick as he's taken out of the fights. Finisher coming in, leaving this as a 2 versus 3 now. And Finstack, they're going to do some damage control as they're still trying to trade anything out. They want these kills, they want this gear, and they want that guaranteed position. Smoke coming down, trying to secure that push, but Vic
Beautiful.
Pushing too far over the top of that hill, taken out of the fight for now. Could be temporarily Kylak having to med.
A new challenger has arrived, though, as vehicles move down here to see if we can maybe get a 3-way fight. They're going to be moving right aside, though, as Kylank, the last member on his feet anyway, is going to be moving into the shack. That's a problem because DP-28 has arrived, ladies and gentlemen, and that is going to be that. Notice how he just started holding down the left click button before he even halfway around the corner. There's absolutely no need there. I've got the ammo to spare. Why the heck not?
Left click, drag down, easy pre-fire, and an easy kill, as that will be Gent side. Every time I say something good about them, they just get taken out of the game early. I need to stop. I want them to do better.
Something good about me. Please.
Not going to be happening. We're in the UK. We're fairly safe. It's all good.
We're good.
At least
the banter's alive.
So I'm told. Pickled on your screens currently. They're going to be moving on the eastern side of this circle, but they have the number of Finstack here, the 3-man squad, and they're going to be taking this very carefully. They don't want to get themselves into any unnecessary situations, just like Havoki, who's going to be taken out of the game here. And that will be 13 teams remaining currently in the game. Team 8 will be claiming that kill, and they'll be pushing forward, pushing towards Unskilled uphill.
And Unskilled just killed 2 members as well. Maydai grabbing 2 finishes, I do believe. And there are still 4 people in that compound looking up. Going to be extremely difficult for Team 8 to actually push in there. So I probably wouldn't do that if I were them at this time. It looks like just holding the hill position, which is fine. Alternate attacks in the meanwhile, south of the circle, and this could end up being a fight outside the blue, are getting taken down at the moment by Method. This is slightly brutal because Method are effectively gatekeeping this bridge. And alternate attacks either need to swim, in which case they're completely open, either side of the river, or they need to challenge the bridge, in which case they have to run straight through Method, who are in excellent positions underneath. Not a nice place to be.
Attacks already taking 1 casualty into this. Now, Lixon Is he going to be able to find anything? He's got the tree coverage, but he's going to be staring down the barrel towards quite a few members of Method here. Andy going to be making a run across the SKS, landing one shot as Andy snaking left, snaking right, getting behind some cover and returning fire. The rest of his members will be taking an eye over there, and Lixon, he's just going to be firing at all comers, but he's giving away his position very quickly, running against a blue, forced outside of the zone now. Playzone doing a lot of damage. The run coming through, the down coming out, and that will be Andy securing another set of points for himself as this kill is all but secured at this moment in time.
Well, the tricky situation we described has unfortunately come to pass. Frost, the only surviving member of attacks, and AA did manage to at least cross the river, but what's he going to do now? The next circle is in progress, and he's going to have to move out from behind that rock. It'd be quite impressive if he got underneath it. And unfortunately for him, Method are all looking in his general direction. They're all very close, though, to Tindergold, who are just north of them. In fact, they might even be heard, but all they care about is this guy behind the rock.
I feel like we're going to have to take a deep breath because gunfight is going to be starting out here between Method and Team 5. Tindergold taking 2 casualties already into this as Method turn around, return fire, and secure free. Andy will be traded out in the equation, so a nice quick frag grenade coming down on this. Stab has the number, he has the shots, and he's looking for the rest on this one. Excellent work as this team just pushing forward, inching ever so closer. Milor, the final remaining member, and he is in dire straits at the second as he's staring down the barrel at multiple members of Method. But it's not even Method who take him down in the end.
Oh, wow.
And that's 10 teams remaining in this game.
Well, there goes the kill steal. Nicely done there. What Method have earned themselves, though, is a sector of the circle completely and utterly to themselves, which is very, very nice for them. Larry, in the meantime, is taking on Finstack in the north side of the circle. Zulol, unfortunately, will take him out. He was outside the circle anyway, so it was a tricky situation to be. Ooh, and that is very close indeed, as Brexco managed to pick himself up a double. I think he was just as surprised as Penta there. And that is going to be a delicious 2 kills. A massive blow for Penta as the other 2 frantically come on down. They were not expecting that at all. Kevin and Luxno are going to be either side of him. Brexco now in a tricky situation. And by tricky, I mean 1 frag grenade later, he's basically dead. He's the last surviving member of his team as well. So let's go ahead and watch this fight play out.
1 versus 2.
That was quick.
Very quickly taken there.
Let's watch this fight, guys.
M4 very effective at taking down at that range, and Luxno will be picking up that kill, but 2 players of team are remaining, and well, Team 7, as soon as we move over to Unskilled, they have a player move, so it's also a production curse coming through. The circle is now starting to shrink, and look at the map as this plays out. Sorry, I'm seeing stuff entirely, but as we're seeing these teams move into a more central position, we are going to be seeing, of course, teams moving closer together. Ooh. And these gunfights will be heating up. Dodo Uncut has a nice little ridge to work with, but the rest of Finstack having to work alongside this. Pony Rider and the rest of Team 8 moving in from the east, but they quickly have Moonwolf as a 2-man stack behind them, as well as Unskilled.
Exactly right, and this is going to be the story here. Moonwolf, who lost out to Tindergold very early on in that bridge camp situation, if you guys remember. Their last 2 members are very slowly moving up the edge, and their goal is very simple. Move into the circle after everybody else. Team 8 come very close to spotting them right now, but all Moonwolf want to do is make sure Team 8 see Team 7. That is their entire goal right now. Anonymous well, he's not firing their way. They're too busy dealing with Team 7. And as a result, Moonwolf get out of there scot-free.
With all of the gunfire coming down as well, a coverage of noise is being provided. Jambonworth going to be taken down onto the ground, and only 1 remaining player from Unskilled is up and alive, but he's going to be having to run against this blue zone. Look at this, the slow but steady crawl. This is going to be so difficult for him to move into now. He's going to be sandwiched from either side, both to the west and to the south. Difficult position here on the northeast side of the next circle, having to med up. down on the west side and the south side. Plenty of gunfire coming through as Method take another casualty. Crazy Cageman taken incredibly low, and Andy, the only player with full health left. You can see he's got 4 kills to his name. 8 kills total for the team. But very dangerous position as 6 teams still remain here.
The Furs are getting taken out by Andy as well. A lot of people just playing the survival game right now. Andy and Moonwolf, they're the teams I'm watching, but really Team 10, GPO, Great People Only, are in a fantastic position. Spotting Cageman from absolutely downtown. Kajuti has him behind the tree, and that's a big problem right now, and Cageman knows it, so he's going to have to go ahead and run away because he was right along the edge of the circle, and in 40 seconds that was going to become unbearable. So sooner rather than later, trying to rejoin Andy, see if they can become that army of 2.
Difficult position to now move forward. 5 teams remaining in our game, so we do have that top 5 position here. Team 8 have an incredible 4 players remaining, and they're facing down the hill onto Moonwolf, the winners from Game 1. Of course, Moonwolf only having 2 players available to them, and Andy, he's on fire. He's definitely warm. Whether he's going to be able to face down the barrel at so many other players will be remaining to be proved here. Andy looking for these shots, and he's not shy to take them. Pony Rider getting tagged 1, 2, 3 times. Very quick into this. Andy, beautiful work. But could his position be compromised just yet?
They're not lying down and taking this quietly. Method, despite only having 2 people, are being as aggressive as they possibly can here. And Moonwolf might have an opportunity to come up behind them. Crazy Cageman isn't looking behind them. Andy, though, might be looking in the right general direction. Moonwolf have basically no cover, and they're just snaking it in. If Andy spots one of them, they're both going down.
We all know what Andy can do with any weapon you put in his hands. This guy is absolutely insane. But of course, as this southern side of the circle is starting to heat up now, we will be seeing the action begin very soon. Team 8 looking towards the north, but they're very preoccupied. They're making some noise, and we're going to be seeing Team 4 looking in their direction. Method have the ears. They can hear exactly where this is. Team 10 also looking over in their direction as GPO are going to be entering the fray very soon. It looks like Team 4, Method, will be going up against GPO next.
And you know who's laughing through all of this, Dudge? It's Moonwolf. They are still so close, and they're busy snaking it. They haven't let loose a single shot. They're extremely happy that all of this is going on. The smokes come out all over the place. We have Finstack and Teammate effectively engulfed in it right now. Moonwolf in absolutely no hurry because they are still close to Method. They can still go out in 5th place. They have played this beautifully so far, though. Kudos to them.
Moonwolf realizing they do not need to get themselves inside the skirmish. Playing for that position is incredibly important here, and they will be making it into the circle, just having to stand up and make a little bit of noise with the run, but they'll make it in regardless. Wash out. A little bit deadly for him here, but of course he will take that down. Playzone will claim him for the moment in time. Team 8 looking over in their direction now. They've found it. Menox will be claiming himself a kill. 4 teams still remaining here as Educos. He could be the next. The shots have been heard. Andy moving over into that position. Going to be taking a third of his health, taking his entire health bar. Cageman quickly responding to pick him back up as he's on first aid duty. 3 teams now left alive as Moonwolf have been eliminated, and Team 8 as the 3-man unit pushing very hard onto Method now. Andy taken down almost immediately. Cageman getting a wild spray in return, but he's gonna take quite a few hits, and that's it. That is Method taken out of the game in 3rd place. Now we have Team 10, Great People Only, versus Team 8 at this moment in time. So let's see who's got the better position as it's 4 versus 3. Dodo Uncut starting proceedings off with a few shots and getting shot right in the head.
Hey, there's your MK14. Knew we'd find it in the end. Sampula is going to go ahead and give us a couple of nice shots to start things off. It is a 4v3 now in favor of Great People Only. They are on the cusp of winning this game. They have a good position at the moment. They're reasonably spread out. A frag. Well, those aren't frags. Those are actually just smokes, waiting to see if someone's coming round to revive Dodo. But they won't get there in time. Menox spots the guy on the left, but there are 2 more people extremely close to him.
Going to be no compounds inside this one. 4 teams to hide in, and this is all out combat now. Menox going to be trading back with a beautiful headshot. He does take quite a bit of his health bar in return. Hello, taken down very early on into this one. That AUG, the one to do the work. Silent shots as well as Anonymous pushing forward. He's going to be pushing towards Free. Very open here, and this position could be deadly for him. 4 times, not going to be helping him as he doesn't see everything from his peripheral vision. Menox next to be taken down as Team 8 sustaining casualties across the board. Anonymous looking to get that res as Pony Rider takes a further flank and does start to draw attention with this gunfire. M4 going down the hill and going towards 2 players at this moment in time. Menox being picked up and taken straight back down.
Yeah, that's gonna be it for those guys. Unfortunately, Pony Rider was extremely aggressive there. He was trying to distract attention so that they bought enough time for the res. Knocks 1. It's effectively 1v2 now. Sampula and Kajuti over on the other side, both behind their respective trees. Sampula looking for a flank, won't get it. He came out in the open in the hopes that he'd get a flank off, but Kajuti wasn't shooting from behind the tree, and this is a 1v1. Team 8 versus Team 10. Can we see Great People Only come home with the victory here? This could end up being a heel-up standoff. There are 4 people alive, but 2 of them are downed.
Pulling it back from a 1 versus 3. Pony Rider, a veteran of the scene, showing his skills as it's him versus Kajuti at this moment in time. GPO, Koiran Pasca starting to make his move over. We will probably not be seeing the res come through at this moment in time. Look at that distance. He's just going to be crawling forward, trying to get any information as possible. Perhaps attempting to bait out one more. Oh my goodness! Nice. There it is! Pony Rider from Team 8 able to secure that finalizing kill. And, well, there it is. What a chicken
really
dinner coming through.
Exactly right. And that's absolutely fantastic stuff coming at him as well. Getting the win for Great People, getting the win for Team 8 there. Just doing such a strong job was Pony. Did you notice how he peeked around the rock as if he was going to shoot the down guy? And of course, we have everyone in a line. And as a result, he was actually just peeking the tree and getting a beautiful headshot onto Kajuti to finish that game off. That was a nice little move there.
I'm unsure whether Kajuti actually needed to shoot during that scenario. Of course, we did see Pony Rider. The circle was approaching him at that moment in time, so he would have had to move very soon. Whether Kajuti had to make those shots is another question to be asked. And I guess, well, I'm going to give it to you for the throw-over on this one, John.
Well, thank you very much. Well, guys, there was an awful lot to talk about for game number 2. I'm sure the desk are busy stacking their notes up as we speak. Moonwolf, of course, losing out to Tindergold in that really weird bridge battle outside of Blue. The second circle north of the river was extremely interesting and set us up for a very entertaining finish as well. The Moonwolf sandwich towards the end as the team started collapsing in. And, of course, that final 4v4 team fight. A lot to talk about from game number 2. Desk, over to you.
Thank you very much once again, Daniel and Jorsar. What a game number 2. Pony Rider with the 1v3 to finish it off. We had a great 4v4 team fight to end that game between what was Team Blitz and might potentially be renamed today. So we're going to call them Team 8 for the duration of today, and Great People Only. I mean, that was some wild stuff. Poro, I'm going to go to you first. There's a lot to break down in that game, especially a nice, friendly circle that I love.
It was a very friendly circle, and you could see the difference. I mean, last game, first circle, we had 10 people die before the thing even closed. This game, we only lose 2. Everybody's able to get in circle, find position. You did see Moonwolf getting caught up very, very early with Tindergold, but doing a really good job of actually kind of leaving that fight with 2 remaining members and obviously making it all the way to the top 4. Got to give him props for that, and being able to play it safely and play it carefully, ending up with 0 kills, but that position, the placement does pay some pretty good dividends as far as points go. I got to say, though, I have to agree with our casters. Kajuti, there at the end, a little bit impatient. a little bit impatient, peeking that tree, trying to go for that shot onto Pony Rider when Pony Rider was literally seconds away from being forced out of that safe position on the rock there. So I'm not sure if that necessarily loses it for Great People Only, because Pony Rider was nailing the shots today. I mean, he was hitting everything. But GPO played that very, very well up until that point. I mean, they had the great flank. Yeah.
Okay, so there's something I want to touch on here, and Cameron, I want your opinion on it. In that final fight, we get down to the 1v3. Obviously, there was a little bit of over-aggression coming from Great People Only. They lose, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say it was Helu went down first in the 1v3. He was very close, though. So I don't think that is I think that's pop over, see if you can get an angle. Maybe. I don't hate that because he was already so deep in. But my question for you, Cameron, Sampula.
Yeah.
Sampula was the one that went wide with no cover. And I understand, you have advantage, but he set himself into a 1v1, in my opinion. Cameron, how'd you feel about that?
So I can't speak to what Sampula's motivations for going on that wide flank were. I believe he was trying to back up. It actually wasn't Helu. It was, how do you pronounce his name?
Koren Pasca? Yeah, I don't know.
Pasca.
I grew up in New Jersey.
Push,
I have no idea.
I like his right. I like his push. His push is what allowed them to take out the not remaining, but like the second to remaining two from a Great People Only, leaving Pony Rider in the 1v3. Pony Rider was just traded out that kill. So that one I think was actually a very good push. I think Sampula was pushing out though to potentially try and find the secondary angle on it.
That's
so
the Sampula kill.
Yeah, it's possible that it was just unfortunate timing by Sampula in that aspect, but you're right. Great People Only, they had a very, very, very good control of the circle. In fact, they had the circle. They went a little over-aggressive onto Pony Rider. I get the aggression at the very beginning when they were able to bring it down to only Pony Rider, because it was a 3v3. You obviously want to fight for it. You don't just want to get peeked the whole time. But then it kind of all fell apart, and of course, you got to give it to Pony Rider. He landed some amazing shots at the end. It swung it back into their favor. But yeah, Great People Only, they had the game, basically. They played safe for the vast majority of that. They didn't push into the center. You saw them have the spread on the west side of the circle, all four of them, and they grouped up 2-2 and then slowly converged in. But yeah, and there's a little over-aggressive at the end.
And they did a lot of work to get that western side. I mean, there was a lot of teams over there. There was a lot of activity on the western side. We saw Pent over there. We saw Finstack pushing down from the north. I mean, there was a lot of pressure. So Great People Only really cleared it out for themselves. And then towards the end, just a little bit too much. So, Pony Rider, great job. I have to say it's a huge clutch for them. It's a very important win for that squad. They have been kind of, let's see where they were. They were top 10. They were the number 10th in points per games before today. So I think that's a huge, huge win for them, kind of pushing them back, forcing them into the top 10 rather than potentially falling out of it. And I think it's really, really just a job well done. I think that circle had a lot to do with how that game went. I think that circle was a huge, huge, had a huge impact, I should say. I'm sorry. Especially with the hill. We had so many squads coming from so many different angles. We saw Moonwolf from the south. And the Method could have been wiped so early. But if I'm not mistaken, it was Tinderguild that they got in the fight with uphill when they were uphill on them, I want to say. And that fight seemed like it went way too fast. Like Method just like bam, 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 down, down, down. Okay, you're all dead. And then they got help from the north, cleared out. And it was like, oh, all right. Like you're not even in circle. You're in a rough position.
Yeah. And
it was absolutely no problem. So I think a huge props. Method actually grabbing a third place in that game, which I think was very, very vital for them, of course. A lot of teams here doing very well. Unskilled, another 6th place, two sixes in a row that game. And now there's one more question that I have. And Por, I'm going to go to you first. I want opinions from both of you. When you get those northern circles, you're north of the river. As we know, a lot of land to play with. Okay, not a ton of compounds, but there are some just north of the river. There's a decent amount. A lot of teams not opting for them. Using terrain instead, moving on foot, not using vehicles that we saw in that game. Not much at all. Poro, for you, Do you think the compound's the better play that gives you a better option for a win if the circle is in your favor? Or do you think moving around on foot and just trying to hold down position, playing the circle as it comes in, is the responsible way to play a northern zone?
I think it really kind of depends on which circle it is, and then kind of where you're at in terms of where the circle is. I like the wide open play. I like using the terrain because once you get north of the river, the compounds that have that provide just great protection and great vision for all around you are kind of very slim. So finding these great divots that you can work with, building those car forts, and just having that ability to take long range shots and gather information from all over the place and be able to have vision from all around you is just so beneficial, especially when it gets down to late game. So I prefer the terrain, to be honest.
Absolutely. Now, Kevin, we saw a few teams actually opting for the river area to make their play and it not going well. Is the play to get north when you're north of the river, when you're in the Severny area, is the play to get to the north of the zone and then play moving south instead of the other way around?
And again, context of the circles is very important, but I do believe so. How in the early game, when you get that bridge cutting directly through the first couple of circles, I think the north side is definitely the better choice. And maybe, again, depending on the circle, you may not want to go as far north as Severny, as far north as the shooting range, or north of that, around the bunker area. But as far as your that central area around the plane crash, I think, and down as well, I think that's the better spot to take, because just on this map, it's easier to move north to south than the other way around. Not even necessarily. So there's the river, south of the river, you got the ruins and that area just north of the Georgia Bull Mountain, which is very difficult to move up through, because you can get spotted from that hill that's north of the river.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. It seems that once you get to that river, the first, let's say, kilometer or so is uphill the whole way as you're moving north, and it puts you in a very, very tough spot. So it's interesting to see. We had Finstack all the way up north. We had a couple squads heading up to the north, and it's interesting to see how they played moving down. Obviously, the teams from the east and the west actually performed best in this game that we just had. Now, that was game number 2. We have 2 more. Obviously, this is EU. It's PUBG Online. 16 of our 40 teams are competing here today. Tomorrow, another 16 teams will be facing off in a best of 4. Obviously, we do NA as well. NA will be tonight. NA will be tomorrow night. This is week number 4, meaning after this week, after today and tomorrow, there are only 2 weeks left in split number 1. After that, what happens is we will take our top 16. Those will be your showdown teams for season number 1. 16 in NA, 16 in EU. They will compete once again in a best of 20 series for their share of $25,000 per region. Now, boys, I haven't asked you this yet today. All right? Okay. And normally I do. Cameron, I'm going to you first. Right now, who are you watching for the rest of the day? Who is winning this day as far as Cameron Davis decides?
Moonwolf are already looking really good. They had an unfortunate bridge camp that kind of backfired onto them, but they able to position themselves and get a 4th place. And then, of course, winning the very first game off the bat puts them in a really strong spot to take the whole day home.
I agree. A 1st and a 4th for Moonwolf so far. Poro, who is your squad?
Give me Method.
Give you Method
every time. Method. I mean, considering they're playing with 2 subs, I think they're playing extremely well. So.
Absolutely. I would definitely agree, guys. I still think Avangar is pulling this one out. They're fragging. They had a tough game 2. Game number 1, bunch of kills, 4th place. I think they're the team to beat in this lobby. But it is now time for game number 3. So let's kick it over to our 2 in-game casters, Daniel Sandel and Jorasar.
Thank you very much, guys, and we are back. We are ready to go. We're in Game 3. We've still got this game and 1 more to come after this. So taking a look at this plane route to start us off, we're going to go straight from the middle at the very top all the way down to the bottom. It's a dead split down the middle, baby. And how do you favor this one, John?
Very interesting stuff indeed. A 12-6 kind of plane. It was interesting to hear the guys talk about their preferred teams to start off with. For me, just to cast the curse things a little bit further, I'm still liking Tindergold. The bridge camp from them was a bit weird in the last game, even if they did win that fight. I thought it cost them more than it should. But I expect them to be consistent, and they have been consistently good this series. So Moonwolf have been great. So have Method, actually. I expect to see them up there and about. But I reckon Tindergold will be mixing it up there as well.
And we're already getting some mix-ups coming through from this plane path. We've got Stalber starting to be one of the approaches here for Havoki from Team 9. That is quick math, and that's going to be a very large amount of loot for one person in particular. The rest of his squad, of course, going to Severny. As we do have a very even split down the center, we're seeing just how these teams are parting the Red Sea, and we're going to have players everywhere here. Whether NIP and Gentside land very close together on that east side will be a big talking point for me, as Milta already being another contested area.
Ooh, looking for the... Oh dear, a little bit of Mad Maxage going here as unfortunately the guys aren't actually going to get everything off. One managing to make it away. Teammate, the winners, of course, from that last game, will not, unfortunately, get that early kill. A little bit of a cheeky one there. And I think I want to touch on a point you just made, Dudge, about people being everywhere. We have a Stalber circle in the top right. Now, the plane going down the middle means that the teams are really spread out. That means that everyone and their dog is going to get a really nice compound to loot. There's going to be relatively few gunfights. Moving into the circle, you're going to get people coming into the edges of the circle from all directions. And they're very, very far away because half the teams landed on the left-hand side of the map and they have to go all the way to the right. That means a large number of teams are going to be plowing through at the same time. So my prediction is the last couple of teams that drive through the circle get peppered from all angles. You recall that game 2? Reasonably quiet in terms of vehicle explosions and people getting shot at driving into the circle. This is not going to be one of those games.
Exactly, and focusing on that latter point, entrance into the circle. If we can quickly zoom out just a second and focus on this white circle on your screen, how much land is actually available for teams to make their approach from? The other areas going to be approaching from beaches. Incredibly difficult. It's easy to get in. It's very difficult to maintain or gain a position following an entrance like that. So with limited areas for these players to move in from, we could be seeing some camping grounds established if these teams would like to edge pan it for Circle 1. That could provide quite the injection of loot if there are any team wipes coming through, because, of course, at this level where looting is done so quickly, getting those kills, getting that extra small injection of loot can make all of the difference going forwards.
And I just want to touch on one more thing. If we take a quick look at the map again, guys, this is like playing Where's Wally? Great People Only finished second in that last game. Can you spot all 4 team members of Great People Only in 5 seconds? Stream, go. Sampula off to the top left. Koiran at around the 2 o'clock position. Helu in between Milta and in between the 2 bridges, and Kajoti near Ferrybeat. What on earth is going on here? I'm going to be keeping an eye on the kill feed for them. Are they just spread betting and trying to survive despite not getting into a fight yet?
I honestly, it's one of the biggest splits we've seen so far. It's difficult to actually know what's going on with this one. These guys had every opportunity to drop in the same place, of course, and it looks like they're just opting to try something a little bit different. Perhaps coming off of game 2, realizing that they not necessarily have a game to throw away, but they've already got a nice, comfortable position of points this evening, so they can try something a little different, especially when our seasons here are so long. 4 games a night, 4 games a week.
Yeah, that's very true. They could just be saying, actually, we want to finish in the top 3 teams this evening. Our goal is to avoid engagements and just have everyone snake in, and maybe by the 4th circle we can all sort of meet up, and that's great. But, oh my God, is this going to be horrendous for anyone who's coming in from far. I'm particularly worried about Kajuti, who's near Ferry Pier, because even if he finds a vehicle and starts coming in, he's going to get smashed up by about 16 different people. First crate of the game coming on in now. It's not actually empty, don't worry about that. It's an M249. So we'll get to see what happens with maybe our early observations about the crate weapon. I think that's fair to say, Dudge. If someone takes the ammo and leaves the gun in that crate, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Well, we haven't been disappointed so far this evening. The quality
True.
that we've had so far has been amazing, and already Pony Rider, X,
that's 3
Jambon,
squads.
all moving over towards this crate. Everybody having exactly the same idea for this one. Pony will be getting a position out of this, though, so we'll have to see if X Team Blitz, Team 8, will make anything from the move forward. X, on the other hand, just going to move back over towards Hollywood in his own compound, and Team 7, Unskilled, will also make their own splits, but this will be X starting to make some gunfire over towards Zargin, who's got that UAS, going to just continue to move on, really. Passing ships in the night, and we'll see if anyone does collect that crate shortly.
Seeing 3 different squads near the crate is going to put a lot of people off, even if they drove right by it to begin with. Pony Rider, our hero from the last game, is physically closest to the crate, but you can see Sargent there, as well as Jambon Oeuf. Anyone watching the stream? Ham and eggs in French. Beautiful nickname there. Also made me hungry the first time we mentioned it this evening. Near the crate as well, we've got Team 2, Gent side. And Finstack, I think, aren't too far away, but no one going for it just yet, probably because we saw that Mad Max flurry of vehicles going towards it in the first place. I suspect, if I had to put money on it, I reckon Team 8 will sneak it.
Of course, those crates are important going forward. Any extra boon, anything extra that can keep you going, give you that momentum, and give you the additional firepower to move in. It's a huge hit. Now, of course, X-Chris and the rest of Method will be making their early rotations too. Not had too much bloodshed to begin this game, as teams have already started making their moves. No real campers coming out for this one, and well, that's just going to give us an extra little bit of time to see how X-Chris just manages to pull that car back from the roll. Andrea taking shots over towards Finstack, but nothing landing, nothing too consequential at this moment in time.
I'd say the people in early vehicles have already moved into the circle, and we're slowly approaching that period where people are finding compounds. The first half of the teams are going to get themselves settled inside circle. Once you get past Yasnaya from about this moment onwards, you're going to find yourselves in a tricky situation indeed. If you zoom out and take a look at how many people are still outside of the circle, right, so those guys in Georgiapol and the guys on military base, when they come into the circle, that's when the real shooting begins.
Exactly, and alternate attacks will be making their move from the south. Moonwolf have a fairly decent position to make a move in from Milter, as most of our teams seem to be congregating towards the center of the circle. Of course, with this centralization strategy, they will be able to just make a move to wherever the circle lands. Of course, that gives you a guaranteed position of power, so you can move anywhere you want, really, and it's not been favored quite as much recently.
Moving back in towards Mansion now, you can see attacks just sort of getting into position. There's going to be no one here, of course, so Grubsy will be able to drive around to his heart's content and meet up with the rest of his teammates. We're approaching the situation now, like we mentioned earlier, where people are choosing compounds to sort of camp out at. They're reasonably close to Dodo, who's in the forest coming towards Mansion. I suspect he'll be put off coming into this as soon as we have the first couple of bullets fly.
No bullets just yet. Mansion coming into play here. As you mentioned, Dodo going to be scouting this out as well. No teammates quite close by him, so he's just going to have to take this very carefully. Mansion, one of those areas that we don't really see come into play very often, but it's obviously such a strong, heavily fortified position if you're able to make the most of it. Gunfire coming out from Georgiapol as teams are starting to make their moves out. One versus Lux at this moment in time, as I am Larry, just forced to run to the east and run away from Lux as Penta are going to be in a very weird position here.
Hashtag Blue Zone fighting. It's going to be happening for a second game in a row here, Dudge, and I am not a big fan of this for either player, or either team for that matter, because at the end of the day, Team 3 won, which is confusing. Team 3 are called 1, but bear with me. They could just get in a vehicle and drive away. They're risking a lot, and of course, if you get down in the blue, it's frustrating. They're risking an awful lot, and most importantly, they're getting into the zone later and risk getting shot at when they get into the zone later for the sake of possibly getting one extra kill. And I'm just personally, I don't feel like those points are worth it, you know? We have a huge standoff. Oh, surprise, surprise, it's Tinder Gold by a bridge, ladies and gentlemen. So Tinder Gold are going to be taking on these guys, and that's Team 11, Exalt Gaming, I do believe. And suddenly both of these teams are going to be in a bit of a pickle as well.
Outside the zone, going to be putting even further stress onto these teams. Udir may fire the first one to be taken down as Vegler is able to finalize that kill very quickly. So, Exalt Gaming, they've put themselves onto the back foot here by being on the outside, but with this being the first zone, there is still the opportunity for these squads to keep the medical supplies going. Going to be very difficult, however, so Vegler just peeking to the left, peeking to the right, and trying to find anyone he can. Kronex, that's a position that's been given away, and Vegler will be looking to finalize this next. He could be going on the hunt here.
Well, at the end of the day, we're all in positions where downs mean an awful lot more right now. And these guys are in such a tricky position. I mean, Exalt Gaming, let's assume they win this firefight. Still going to be quite a long time before they actually get into a comfortable position inside a compound or on a nice ledge with a bit of cover inside the circle. Those kind of thoughts are a million miles away from them right now. They can't afford to think about that. All that's in front of them are a couple of people on a bridge, and Tindergold is making their lives miserable.
This is a standstill at the second, and neither team can really go anywhere with this. Very difficult. Brexco will be looking for the spray down, the 8-time spray down, no less, onto that vehicle, but he's going to be taking some fire in return. Team 5 at Tindergold getting themselves onto the bridge, and it looks like they will be putting a hasty retreat in, which could also pave the way for Exalt Gaming to also make their move across. They have still sustained that one casualty to start this engage off. So going forwards into the later stages of the game could still be difficult. Echikos in the kill feed there, picking up 2 kills for himself from a vehicle explosion, which probably the first one we've missed so far. Production's been on point with that tonight.
Very true, very true. Well, there's going to be a lot more vehicle action. Attacks collapsing in on a compound now. You can see ninjas in pajamas getting potshots taken at them from Pony Rider, our hero from the previous game. There are only 2 people there at the moment, though. It's just him and Dodo Uncut left. And the next circle has been determined. It's basically going to all be on land, the tiniest bit of ocean, but we're not really worried about that at this point. So no crazy dolphin final circles in Game 3 here. Moonwolf has a nice little compound with broken wall at all sides. They're going to be reasonably pleased with that because they've got the vehicles to back themselves up as well. There is no need for them to move at this moment in time. And now all eyes are on the vehicles that have yet to come into the circle. Where are they going to drive by?
Well, they're going to be shooting to the north as Team 10 GPO make their move forwards. They've started to regroup now, and, well, we're seeing 2 duos at this moment in time. That split pretty famous for these guys in the middle of this field. Not what they're looking for at this moment in time. Okay.
Not too many shots hitting at the moment. Team 16 there, Moonwolf. Spotting Gent side. Couple of shots through the windows, but otherwise nothing really to write home about. You're not getting a squad wipe from here, that's for sure. Acknowledge that each other are in those compounds, and realistically, until slightly later in the game, they'll just be looking elsewhere.
Exactly, and if we can, whilst this skirmish is just quickly establishing itself and putting its wheels into motion, we're going to take a look at the map. And now looking at the west side, we still have teams yet to make their entrance into the circle at all. The northwest side is completely open, but Penta could be taking a gatekeeping position to stop any squads from coming in up there. Of course, one compound will be the prize for the first team who enters in. Now, taking a look further center, Yasnaya and the field surrounding it going to be lit up with so many players who have found the center. They've found a position, but they're not really liking what they're finding there, because over 300 to 400 meters, these teams are just poking away at one another, and that poke does add up in the end. Of course, it's Team 10 GPO in the center of that field, who are probably in the worst position and worse off for wear, as they have nothing to cover them here.
True, yeah, it's just their fields. Maybe a haystack or 2, but I mean, you're always going to be seen whenever you run anywhere. It's not ideal in terms of the amount of cover they have at all. And, well, the lone yellow house is going to be of some solace to them, but all they can really do is sit here and wait for backup to arrive, unfortunately, as they are very much sitting ducks in the middle of that field. They've broadly grouped together since the start of the game, though, so GPU have come together, and there are still 4 of them alive, so credit to them for that. They will have had a lot of nice loot as a result. Now, coming into the top of the circle so far, you can see Team 1 on the base of Stalber Hill, going to be moving on in. They're in a great position. The only people in their way at the moment is Penta, unfortunately, who are in this beautiful walled compound just to the south of them.
Exactly. Penta, they got into the circles. They got that entire northwest position to themselves. They could be moved out very soon, however, as the circle does establish itself for our next. And yep, they're going to be moving. We're going to go over to the northeast side of this current circle. So Yasnaya starting to move itself out and be phased out of the game. But we do still have compounds coming in. Mansion also taken out, and some of those compounds that are in the southeast side of our current circle also out of the game.
Oh no, oh no. Right to the far left of your screen, ladies and gentlemen, Brexco and Co. have gone into the blue to get a really big flank to come around the north side of the circle. On paper, it sounds like an ingenious idea. On practice, they're about to run straight past Penta Esports in that compound. And, oh, Penta! They've left just as Brexco was about to arrive. I thought they were going to absolutely tear the bejesus out of those vehicles. And timing now means that, oh my god, Furzer and Co. are in a lot of trouble coming into the circle. Remember how we were saying earlier about the guys who were coming into the circle last, getting shot at by absolutely everyone? Well, guess what? It's coming true right now, and making plays are really feeling it.
Some teams trying to mitigate that factor by being the first to rotate. These early rotating squads will be rewarded with any of the extra remaining compounds. We still have 16 teams left alive in this game, with only 10 casualties being sustained so far. Gent side this time round with 4 players left alive, but I've already cursed them enough this evening, so let's move the hell away from them very quickly. One's Mikaz from Team 3.
Solid Snake himself.
Natural bowl, yes, exactly. And, well, if this guy can sneak around any more than he did last game, we're going to have some highlight reels coming through from him. He's looking to get up to the top of this hill.
I feel like this is the X Games and he's prepping for the big jump, you know what I mean? He's just kind of driving around, sort of psyching himself up, getting himself ready, and at some point... Okay, that was nowhere near the kind of flip I was expecting. I'm sorry, stream, but I don't know about you. I was disappointed by that. I thought he was really gearing himself up for something big there.
You had it in your imagination. That's the main thing that counts, and, well, this guy's lost his legs.
Oh, I can't... That is genuinely a yoga position. I just can't remember what it's called. No joke. All right, so compounds pretty much taken now. Note, by the way, the east side of Yasnaya, only a couple of teams there. Finstack are going to be the eastern edge, and that's because it is right on the edge of the circle, so very, very little chance that those buildings in Yasnaya are going to make the next circle. And what happens in those urban situations, and as I'm sure you know well, Dudge, is that if you have, say, 3 or 4 teams in 6 buildings and they're all really close together, all of a sudden it becomes a massive game of chicken. Whoever moves first gets shot first. And as a result, you all stay, you all tank the blue, and it becomes a complete clown fiesta if you're not careful. So that's why we don't see more teams in Yasnaya, even though there are loads of buildings in the circle there.
Especially in the apartment buildings, we've seen on multiple occasions that about 3 or 4 teams have been inside the same apartment building. And it's such chaos. It's so hard to coordinate. It's very difficult to make an exit from these positions. And at a stage like this in the game, making your rotation over is incredibly important. Making some rotations at the second is Dodo on cut as he's trying to run away from attacks, and they've spotted him. They've got his number, and Dodo does have a tree for safety at the second, but he's facing down 4 as the back is shown, the back is presented, the bullets are shot out, and that is going to be a heavily damaged level 1 vest at the moment in time, continuing the run. He's not really catching a break here.
Is anyone else hearing the Benny Hill music? Because I'm hearing the Benny Hill. That's all I'm saying. He gets away, though. That little bit of defilade is going to save his life. And you know what he needs to do now? Oh, especially with that circle. You know what he needs to do now? He needs to lie down and be quiet. But he needs to make sure that he isn't too close to alternate attacks, because from the direction they came from, he's going to be very visible as soon as they get upside that hill. So ideally, just moving a little bit further along the circle and maybe trying to sneak yourself behind a tree and hoping alternate attacks run straight past you would be the ideal move here. Oh,
from
dear,
this angle
see.
of approach as well, we do have to see that attacks will get a very easy compound, or they would have if Tindergold hadn't got themselves into that southern compound very early. It'll be Dodo Uncut running into Milor very soon. Plenty of room still to breathe for these players, so if they don't run into one another, we could be getting even more of a Clown Fiesta coming through. But let's take a look at some more action coming through on the map as the western approach coming through from Zulul and squad is going to be attracting the attention of two players, and that's going to be Gentside, ripping Timmy Z apart, ripping his vehicle to shreds, and Andrea looking for more. Team 1, Finstack losing another member here. Finn's boy going to be dropped onto an Assassino as he drops down. Beautiful work as Gentside get a squad wipe, and that's Finstack, place number 16.
Finstack, Spider-Man out of the game there, and that was beautifully done on the vehicles. Again, you want to get in this circle, vehicles late, be my guest, but expect death. Dodo Uncut unfortunately goes down. Alternate attacks have eventually hunted him to extinction, and Kygod will be getting the credit on that final kill.
Some more points going in favor of Alternate as they've still got the 4 members left alive. They have this compound pretty much overwhelmed, Milor being the only person else inside there. But we're seeing those lines on the map, and that can only mean one thing. The circle is putting pressure, the players are moving, and those who already... Wow. Okay, so that's going to be one hell of a nade coming through to start these proceedings off, as one player does go down into this, and attacks have that compound all to themselves.
I genuinely thought that was an intentional pun. One hell of a nade, literally as Helu goes down. Like, you are the 8th wonder of the world, Dodge. Do you know that? Strong stuff coming out of that. And oh dear, in the open, that's not going to be ideal. Oh my god, the ragdoll physics on that were brutal. Absolutely brutal. Andy down now, trying to look for a safe spot, but realistically, there just isn't anyone for a country mile, as the rest of the team are quite far away. Very close to this crate. Now, very much in the middle of nowhere, which is why no one's gone for it. Ah, the classic AR compensator for the M24. Delivery man strikes again.
Well, yeah, if you get a hammer, find a hammer somewhere in the game, you could just try and smack it on there. Maybe with that tack stock that you mentioned in the last game, maybe you can use that as a hammer.
That's what the pans are for, right?
Exactly. Taking a look at this, of course, we do have Method. They did sustain 1 casualty on their rotation over. We did get to see Penta engaging themselves in a small skirmish with Method. Oh, wow! Mikaz with the mid-air shots coming through. Beautiful work, making short work of Cup of Magic. That's 1 casualty going forward now, and 12 teams left alive. Taking a look at Penta, they've heard those gunshots, and they want to cover their flank. They want this to be their territory, and they want the space to work with. They're going to look to secure that at this moment in time, as they are sandwiched from 2 sides. Method not making too much noise at the second. It'll be a focus down onto 1, also known as Team 3 here.
Exactly right. They're sandwiched between Team 1 and Team Method, so what on earth are you going to do? They don't really want to engage in either direction, to be honest. They're worried the moment they start firing, they're going to be backstabbed by the other. You don't really want that as an invitation to have a 1v2 sort of engagement. So I'm a little bit surprised Ultra is taking the shots he is right now, because they opened themselves up to an engagement from Team 1. But I guess they're just confident that that little deflate in the road, you can see Ultra just having a quick peek to see if anyone's rushing towards him, is going to buy him enough cover. Method now, though, in vehicles, moving ahead. They only now have Team 1 to deal with. And surprisingly, Method are going to have a relatively event-free run into the circle. No one was shooting them there. That's going to be quite nice.
Story of the evening, though, and Method down to 2 players at this moment in time. I'm going to just quickly take a look at that replay. Look at the aim coming through. The M4 spray straight onto the bike in the air, and Cup of Magic just ripped off of the back of that motorcycle so quickly. Now, as we're taking a look at Gentside, still 4 players remaining for their game, so excellent position moving forward, and I shouldn't have said that because they're probably going to go out next with how much I've been cursing them this evening.
Oh dear, we've avoided them for so long, and now, dear oh dear. Alright. Ooh, awkward. Shack life, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and they get killed by L. They get killed from elsewhere. Was that Gentside taking out? Oh dear, and Stab is counting his lucky stars there, isn't he? That is ridiculous, Dutch. I thought he was a goner.
Not every day you get to see something like that being saved by Gentside here. Team 3, or Team 1, actually, in this occasion, are going to be pulling up on to the buildings from Gentside, and Gentside don't want anyone pulling up unless they're going to be drawing guns. They're going to start throwing hands very quickly into this one as Niels, he's going to be left out to dry in the middle here. Is making some footstep noise, but he's found himself a building. Mikaz next into the fray. Can he find anything? Niels' position compromised. Vic keeping his number on this one. Mikaz, we've seen him do some wonders, but is he going to be sneaky enough for the Gentside squad? Still with 4 players in a 4 versus 2 scenario. All the odds in their favor.
Niels, unfortunately, he can't really move at the moment. The window is being camped effectively. So let's see how many frag grenades Mikas ends up having, because if he can chuck about 12 more in there, one of them might hit. And the reason I say that is because Gentside have actually been extremely good at dodging those nades. And that's a beautiful nade from Vic as well. So that takes out Niels in the corner there. And that finishes off Mikas. So unfortunately, Solid Snake himself, ladies and gentlemen, has gone down in this game. We all wanted to see him do well, but they will be going out in 9th place. Rest in pepperonis.
We're not going to get the time to really go in depth on that one, but I want to point out how Andrea played that one. He was aware that nades were coming from the backside of that compound, so he did make a quick check before leaving the area, not exposing his back and not allowing Solid Snake to finish that virtuous mission this time around. So excellent play coming through from them. I'll let you take over for just a second.
Well, Squad 8 managed to take out a member of Method, I believe, and now they're turning their sights onto Ninjas in Pajamas. They're very much in the center of the circle, but they're fighting Squad 8, Squad 5, and Squad 7 effectively at the same time. Only 2 of them left. Gentside still holding the compound. They've got all of their members alive. Stab, the luckiest person ever to be in a shack anywhere, seems to still be alive next to the crate with the Hammer M24 AR compensator, if you guys will remember that. Alternate attacks have been a little bit quiet since managing to secure this compound, and for good reason. There was no need for them to move. They're one of the few teams with 4 people left alive, and them versus Gentside could very easily be the most likely final battle here in this game.
Stab's luck finally running out inside this game as he did make his move. Andrea will be picking up that M24 going forwards, so that will be extra resources going into the hands of the French squad. 7 teams now left alive moving forward. Team 7 making their move through Martin, as that is brutality. Vegleur, on the other hand, is trying to set up a clothesline to stop any further advancement coming through from this team. So Team 5, Tindergold, going to be spotting Zargin, and he's going to be getting the instant down. Beautiful spray control coming through from him. Kailank picking up kills onto attacks as NIP getting themselves into a skirmish as well.
That is very interesting. Alternate attacks abandon the compound and start moving up, and they get shot at extremely quickly. And they're actually being engaged very early on by Gentside, so it's not going to be a final battle here. This fight is happening right now, and alternate attacks are very much worse for wear. Gentside still with all 4 people up. They have 11 kills. Total kills between them. This is absolutely insane, and I've just realized we've cast a curse them for the next 4 months now.
These guys will surprise you at the best of times, and we've seen them come from much worse positions. Of course, they have a position of strength with 4 players in this game, and I'm going to stop talking about them just in case. Jambon.
Yes. He's got him. Jambon managing to grab a cheeky down onto Vic. He can't quite finish it off because he knows that Ninjas in Pajamas are extremely close to him. He knows that someone is sort of knocking on the door of the shack down there. And as long as Gentside don't come actively looking for him, and I don't think they are just yet, he's having a whale of a time right now. He is the Solid Snake of this game, effectively. Spots NIP running towards him, and I think that's Borg that takes him out. It is indeed a beautiful pinpoint headshot with the M4. Will mean the Jambon Earth is sadly confined to the fry-up plate of history.
Oh, I thought you were going to go for Borg frying himself up some ham and eggs for breakfast as we're moving into the
I
next
should have done that, shouldn't
stages
I?
of the game. Jetside still with 4 players, now on 13 kills. These guys are just
Madness.
taking over this server, and Eggydorp is not stopping there. He's going to be taking every inch he can get in this game, pulling a tire, pulling a window, pulling some skirmishing fire over onto NIP, and they are caught in a very deadly position. Now, Team 4, Method, will be making one move over from the north side, however. But Team 2... this is Gentside. They have the entire western flank to themselves. NIP will have to move. Gentside, it's everything to lose. But Andy could play spoiler as the solo player for Method. He's still secured at least 3rd place. Borg pulling back 1 trade kill down onto Eggydorp, but this could be an easy resurrection coming through here. Andy now trying to find the rest of the players. He does have the number on Vic at the second. Vic having to run against this, and he's going to be taken out very much immediately on this. Andrea now making the move, and it looks like Vic is just going to be left to the wayside as this squad trying to focus on their position, and Andy looking to try and take them as spoiler.
Yeah, he wants the credit for as many of these kills as he can possibly get. Looking for Andriak, won't be able to find him. I think you'll get the credit for Eggy. We'll keep an eye out. Never mind, that was very close. Not expecting that at all. Gentside have 1 more person left alive. Andy manages to survive to fight this. It's a 1v1. And Andy takes out Gentside. I mean, they were looking the other way for a bit, but for all intents and purposes, that was close to a 1v4. Methods, Andy is on fire right now.
Oh my goodness! He's already getting even further in this one. He's got the second almost there. Beautiful work as X going dangerously low. There's the return fire, however, as X not going to be taken spoiler this time around. NIP, Ninjas in Pajamas, taking 1st place position with Method fighting against all odds. I should say Andy fighting for life and limb, picking up 2nd position there, and Gentside picking 3rd place up after such a dominating 13 kill performance in this game. Such a hype top 3 going forwards here.
If Mikas was Solid Snake in game number 2, then Andy is Rambo in game number 3. Ladies and gentlemen, are you not entertained? Also, credit to Ninjas in Pajamas for having the presence of mind to go, well, I'm just going to have to win this game on 1 hit point, whatever. Dust off the shoulder, managing to take him out as well. Ninjas in Pajamas are your winners in game number 3. Again, an action-packed game with an awful lot to talk about. I'm looking forward to hearing what the desk has to say about this one. Guys, over to you.
Thank you very much once again, gentlemen. The 3-man team of X, Borg, and Andy Pyro overcoming Gentside, the 4-man that was left alive. A wild ending to game number 3 there. You know, it was all pretty straightforward. Everyone was moving. Nice zone, a lot of land, a lot of places to be had. But the ending was phenomenal, and that was 1 bullet away from one of the wildest clutches from Andy Pyro that we would have ever seen, I have to say. Cameron, I will send this one over to you first, my friend.
So, I'm sorry, I'm still a little starstruck by that at the end with Andy almost pulling that back. I mean, so to be fair, he did get a little bit of help with Ninjas. Gentside were distracted by them. Borg getting that opening frag to kind of throw entirety of Gentside into disarray. Even though Gentside had the man advantage at the end, it was really hard for them to kind of take land map control just because of how open it was. It was basically on the side of a hill in a way, and there wasn't very much cover in the center. And so if Gentside wanted to push forward and grab any map control, they would be kind of out in the open. And Borg is an amazing shot. And he just put so much pressure onto them by doing so. But at the same time, like Gentside, there wasn't that much pressure on them to move forward so much just yet. But Andy, usually when there's a solo player left, they kind of just like to wait it out. They like to play it safe. He pushed forward and tried to see if he couldn't get something going on. Confidence, and it was helped by the fact that he did get that first initial down as well on that player of Gentside who is running from the blue. When he got that down, he saw that there was another down on that area. He did some quick math in his head and decided to push forward very aggressively and almost took the whole game away. Just unfortunately had to reload at the very end. But,
yeah,
method.
That is exactly the mentality that you need to have. Method. Like, what? I don't even... Playing with 2 subs today, all right?
Yeah.
They get a third place game number 2, a second. This was 1 bullet away from a method win. Literal 1 bullet away. And I think that first of all, we got to give it to NIP. They grabbed the win, so congratulations to NIP. They need that win for sure. They have not been, holding up a top spot on our leaderboard so far. They do perform elsewhere. And that shot from Borg, getting that down, huge. And I think very important, especially in a 4v2. You have 4 players from Genside just holding NIP down in those buildings, able to get the Car 98 shot, and you saw the movement come out from them right away. And then Andy getting 3 kills. Just like, oh, no, don't just go fight them all. It's fine.
Yeah.
It was absolutely wild. So let's very, very quickly, we're actually going to bring up the replay here. So this is Genside with 4 up, looking for the shot. He's able to get Vic running from the blue. That's what Cameron just talked about there. Huge, huge headshot. And then he's able to creep up behind, get Andrea, and that, I mean, there's no fighting that. It's an M4 5 feet away from you, able to turn around, and finally, Eggydorp, the last one up. I mean, he's sitting at 25 HP, tops. So very, very wild stuff, and he gets an initial down right onto Borg. Looks for X, but 1 bullet away, and not able to get it. Look at that. And X, and I have to say, that is huge. That repeak there by X cannot be completely overlooked, because that is the reason NIP wins this game. If X decides to stay back and try and get a first aid off or play that very passive, he's in a lot of trouble. So that repeak there is huge, able to connect the shots during the reload. Mr. Porosaurus, how did you feel about that one?
Man, what can you say? I mean, Andy, maybe this is what the Chinese players watch before they go into scrims, apparently, because this is what we've been hearing. They play super, super aggressive, going after everybody. They must be watching Andy, because that, I mean, you like you said, you rarely ever see a solo player go that aggro into a full squad of 4. But I mean, when you're confident in your shot, and Andy's really feeling himself today, you feel like you can do anything, and he almost pulled off the damn near impossible with that one. But I can't stress enough that I'm so happy that things finally went Ninjas in Pajamas way. It seems like for just going back weeks now in PUBG Online, at least, it's always something. It's always something, man. It's just so unfortunate. Like, they just get caught up in the most unfortunate circumstances with their transitions, or just running across a team late game that just by all rights shouldn't be there. It's just always something. And for once, finally, things go NIP's way, and they're able to pull it out with some fantastic play at the end there.
Yeah, it could be a great turning point for NIP here in PUBG Online. Half the season, we still have, I have to say, for a lot of these teams, 10 games left. So a lot of them still have a lot of PUBG to be played. Well, I guess it would be 9, because we just played 3 today, right? So 1 more game today. 3 have already happened, and some wild, wild stuff as Andy, Pyro, and 2 players from NIP, X and Borg, able to take on the 4-man of Genside. That's huge. I mean, it's just completely out of control. I don't even know what to say, because I was sitting there, I was trying to grab other points from other stuff. You're trying to pay attention, like, oh, they moved here. Okay, that was really important. They moved here. But Genside, very importantly, and I want to give them some credit here, even though they only pull off a third, which is, it's like only a third. That's a huge deal. It's a lot of points. They held down where they were, and they were pushed 3 times during this game. Yeah. And here we see right now, this is Finstack pushing up. They actually blew up the vehicle, the other vehicle approaching, so 2 were dead. Seiko's down, and then jumps out to get Finn's point. That's 1 wipe. Then they were pushed again. It was Mikas came in there, so that was another dangerous situation. So Genside overcoming a lot of damage, a lot of competition, 13 kills before they even get into that final 3-team fight. So a huge game for them, and I think the aggro, holding down a compound, being in a nice location in the center circle, and defending it very, very well without taking any casualties is a huge point for Genside, and I think very, very well done from them.
Yeah.
Jeez. Cameron, you have something?
Well, so
talk to me, Cameron.
is
Give it to me.
EC Osnaya is, I just want to pull up a map in the meantime just so I
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about. But there aren't that many compounds
Correct.
in this area, which is what made Genside's hold even more impressive, because the reason why they had to contest against so many teams trying to come on their position is because it was such a good looking position and they had to defend themselves time and time again. And so the fact that they were able to stay, not even just stay alive because they had a compound, stay for alive,
Yeah.
just shows how much good work that they did in this circle defending themselves.
Yep, here we see the vehicle getting exploded right there. Timmy Z and Zulu both being killed by Genside as well. I mean, that is just putting the damage out. That's what we talk about all the time. We used to talk about this time and time again during death segments where it was, if you don't want anybody near you, shoot everybody you see. That was it. Be as loud as you can. If someone comes near you, you destroy them. You do whatever you can, clear out your half of the zone through combat. And that is definitely what Genside did. And their final position, it wasn't great. They were in a tough spot. They were holding down the road. They had a ridge. But I mean, it was just Andy, which counts for like 9 people. So basically there was 9 players up above them, and then they came down and got into a fight, but some wild stuff. And I am just now seeing the chat reaction to the end of this game. A lot of Pog champs to be had. A lot of Pog champs to be
Quite
had.
a few.
Fair.
Interesting
That's
stuff.
a fair.
Interesting
That's a fair
stuff.
reaction to that.
Very,
Yeah,
very
it is.
well earned and well deserved.
Let's not ignore Method's play throughout the entirety of this game up until that point, because yes, Andy did an amazing solo play and continues to show why he is one of the best individual players in this game. But he was in that position in the first place because of some very unfortunate circle swings for Method that they ended up working a little bit into their favor. We remember, I believe it was Stab that was in that tiny little hut across the street from where Genside were. In fact, I believe they all tried to make a rotation down to the center of their circle. Andy got taken out. X-Chris went back to go revive him, which was very ballsy. But able to get the revive, and then Andy and X-Chris up there allowed a little bit of a split on the map with Stab. They didn't want to put all 3 in that tiny little shack, because then that would have been awful. In fact, having both X-Chris and Andy away saved Stab once when he got bombed across from Penta, exactly right here. In fact,
Watch these kills. Watch the names of these kills. This is actually right now. You see Andy getting a knock and Andy getting a kill, and then with the help of Vic. So Andy actually putting the shots out from the eastern side of the zone. That's what's so important. I mean, that is just team play. Hey, they're right outside right now, immediately looking in that direction, taking the shots, keeping Stab alive.
Yeah, and they stayed safe because there weren't that many people in the northern part of the circle because of where the circle was leading up to it. Not that many people were in the north. Stahlberg is a very unorthodox area to play around, and so there weren't that many teams that were up there. They recognized that, and so they also didn't over-push their boundaries when they were in a very difficult area to play in. So definitely a good job on Method to get themselves and get their players, particularly not even just Andy, whoever it was at whoever it would have been at the end, to get in an ending position. So Method, they've been looking really strong. They've been struck. I don't know if I'm sure you guys remember. They've struggled a lot in previous seasons. Just there have been things that haven't really quite worked. And even though they're playing with sub right now, this is kind of making me excited to see what the new Method roster not only is going to look like, but also how they're going to perform once they get like a full finalized signed roster.
Yeah, and right now we're going to talk about Mikaz here. Taking the shots, getting the down a couple magic. Look at the lean. Mika's playing out of his mind today. And I don't know if it's just, there's just, these players have days sometimes. They're just like, oh, I'm just going to go off and have a really good day. Today's that day for Mika so far. A lot of really, really top tier decisions coming out from him today and great shots, as you can see there. So I think it's a huge day. Give some recognition to the players performing so well. Now, 1 game left today, gentlemen. Right now, Method feeling really good, a 3rd and a 2nd, a 14th in game number 1, a tough game number 1, but able to turn that around. NIP grabbing a win there, that is huge. 1 minute. This is going to be our final game of today for EU. However, we do have games coming out of NA tonight. Now, there is PUBG maintenance going on tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So what we're going to try and do is pull NA back an hour so we can get all 4 in before that, which means that in an hour and a half, NA starts. So we have tons of PUBG action today. On top of that, tomorrow, same time, same place right here for 4 more games of EU, 16 different teams. A lot of names didn't play today. We got Liquid, we got FaZe, we got Vitality. They're all in the mix tomorrow, so a lot of big stuff. Poro, you're sticking with Method. I'm not even asking you. Cameron, are you switching to Method?
Yeah, I got
Okay.
it.
All right.
I got
I mean, I don't know what else to say. Method, you're
One HP away.
One HP
I mean,
away
I don't want
for
to
sure.
take away from. I don't want to take from Moonwolf. They looked good last game, still.
For sure. Okay, absolutely. Let's hop into our final game of EU today, right now with Jorazar and Daniel Sandel, Mr. Dutch.
Thank you very much, boys. We are going into our final game now, Game 4 for this evening of PUBG Online action. We've gone from clutch to clutch to clutch as games 1, 2, and 3 delivering all the way throughout. We're going to be starting off with a different playing route once again in this map. And once again, I'm joined by John Sargent, also known as Jorasar. Now, what are you looking for this time around, my man?
1 o'clock to 6 o'clock plane. We are cutting out Georgia Paul Zaki. No one is going Primorsk. This is going to be significantly more bunched up. We may have fewer vehicles involved. This could be bunching up a lot closer. But of course, if the circle falls on Zaki, that might not be the case. I am looking forward to seeing what we're going to do to curse Gentside in this final game. Just when we thought things couldn't get any better for them, the caster gods send us Andy Pyro.
I've got to say, your beginning to that one was an incredible TLDR. Point, all the way through. Excellent work on that one. But yeah, we did get quite the curse through onto Gentside, who just fell into disarray at the end of that game, getting fired upon from 2 separate directions. And we could tell that they were taken aback from Andy Pyro on that left-hand flank. And it was brilliant work by him as well. So close to getting that spray down onto X, but the 1 HP, skin of his teeth, bleeding from every orifice, NIP player able to close that out. Excellent work from all of our teams in the last game. Now we're going to have to see if we find anything different this time around, as teams already starting to find vehicles and rotating it to different places to compensate for such a weird plane path, so that the western side is still opened up by the vehicles that have been established already. Drainus, he's going to be getting that UAZ, and Pony Rider very close to him as well, as Rozhok is going to be open to T8.
He's running out with the crossbow. He wants that UAZ. He wants it badly. Oh, if he gets this headshot, I'm going to be so pleased. No one else will be more pleased, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen.
Very western circle this time around as well, so something similar to what we saw in Game 1, and with nowhere near as few openings as we saw in Game 3 as well. A little bit more standard cut and dry is going to be very comfortable for these teams to make their approaches into the playing zones.
And of course, if you look at the bottom right of the main island, you'd be forgiven for thinking this is game 1, 2, or 3, because Moonwolf and alternate attacks are in Milta and Milta Power, respectively. I think everyone else knows just kind of not to mess with them at this point. So a very, very established looting pattern there. They're very, very happy with that. Method have got Pachinki all to themselves, and Penta are all off into vehicles. I wonder if they're going Gatka compounds, but it's also possible they want to have a cheeky in-out kind of looting of Primorsk, because they're 100% sure no one would have gone there. We'll wait and see. I get the feeling it's more likely to be Gatka.
Exactly. We'll have to see where our circles do take us. We have plenty of time before the blue zone does start encroaching, and our roadmap is set for the rest of the game. So just at the second, we're going to focus on that early looting, focus on the early rotations coming through as well. Of course, taking a look back at the plane, very shallow path, which meant that very few teams, only the ones who were able to find those vehicles, were able to go further over to the west. Drainus from a Vanguard, playing at danger close at the second with one member of Team 8 Menox here. Those footsteps could possibly be heard, and we could be seeing some unnecessary early skirmishes coming through from these two players.
Always awkward when you're fighting in Venice, Sunken City, whatever you want to call it.
Budget Venice.
I prefer Venice, but I mean, it's, you know, a little bit more full of rubbish than actual Venice. I should point out, disclaimer purposes, actual Venice is nicer.
It's Venice in winter.
What a nuclear winter, maybe. These guys, they don't want to fight on the ground because when you're in the water, you're basically at walking speed for the entire thing. It's just really awkward to fight here. So yes, you've got the rooftops, but you can't just want to stand there and look for opportunities. Draenus is going to go ahead and attempt to plow down the wall with the UAZ, not succeed in doing that, and therefore run away in disgust. Totally fine. He'll be rejoining the rest of the Vanguard shortly. So this is interesting. A plane path that encourages everyone to go to the right side of the map, and then the circle goes off to the left. So we had all the ingredients in place for no, everyone doesn't need 4 vehicles to rush into the circle, and we're not going to see loads of people shoot at the vehicles. And you know what? The circle has now kind of said, well, yeah, we'd like that anyway. So I have a feeling we're going to be seeing more of the same, I think. Lots of bullets, lots of vehicles. Whoever comes in last is going to regret it.
Well, the game just wants to give us some action to close out this evening of PUBG Online. Of course, we've already had plenty of action going through, and tonight has not disappointed from any of these teams. Of course, we do have multiple teams who are looking to prove themselves before closing off the evening, and some teams, of course, who really want to keep the momentum going so far. I have to agree with the desk, actually. I've been very impressed with Method this evening. Just the ability to play off of the back foot and get consistently high placements, it's absolutely incredible work.
That's right. Genside and Method, of course, in that last game. I think other teams that have been consistently pretty good today, Tindergold might have had a game off in game 3, but a game off in the sense that they weren't in the top 3. Vanguard have been doing reasonably well, but haven't quite found... Oh, hang on a second. That is Team 4. Method just going to chill out right next to Dodo Uncut. Little bit awkward there. He hasn't got a helmet to his name either, but plenty of cover around the side here. He is going up against Andy Pyro, against Rambo himself. So this is going to be rather frustrating for him. Andy's going to peek around the edge, won't see him. And oh my god! Waited till he heard the footsteps come round the corner and not allowing him to peek round to spot him, but peeking himself to get the angle. Getting the first shot off, so important when you have that helmet there as well. And, oh, that was beautiful from Dodo.
I'm not sure if that actually counts as a caster curse or not, because I said that Method have been playing well off the back foot. Now, that's
they
two
did that
players
all right.
instantly going down.
That wasn't Andy playing badly. That was Dodo playing extremely well.
Yes, for sure. And, well, with the caster curse coming through, that's going to be Method losing 2 players. Going to have to play off the back foot once again here this evening, and we'll have to see just how well that does go. 62 players remaining and a hell of a lot of game still left to go. Now, looking at the center of the circle, plenty of teams already inside here, and Genside will be starting to make their move over with those 4 vehicles now.
So, once again, alternate attacks are going to have to come past Moonwolf, but if Moonwolf leave earlier, then that's not going to be a problem. This is the motorcade of Genside making their way into the circle. No one nearby, so this is fairly early days at the moment. Let's get a peek on who's military base or other sort of... Are we going to have Tindergold camping a bridge? If Tindergold are camping a bridge, I'm going to be very, very upset. We don't. Okay. So they're elsewhere on the map. Who else? There's actually not too much in the way of conflict here on Military Island. People are in vehicles, but no one's paths are likely to cross in the next few minutes. Surprisingly safe, this is.
Excellent to expect from the early game. Sweater just getting himself that little compound to himself as Genside start to make their move across. These early rotations now starting to come in, and this will just be setting our teams up to go forward with the rest of the game. Now, with these centralization strategies in a circle like this, with so many teams heading around that center, this could all really kick off very soon, but that does remain to be seen. Team 13 here making plays. Had quite a quiet evening so far, and Fraser, he's just going to be hearing these cars all the way around him, but still, it's just the same story. Edge versus center, and these teams making their minds up and choosing which to do early as the blue zone does start to move its way in.
It's all eerily peaceful in Game 4 so far. Maybe we're just taking a little bit of a short break from the action that was kind of non-stop in games 1 through 3. We see Cup of Magic meeting up with Brexco. They're actually getting reasonably close to Squad 13 here. making plays, holding that compound, and Sweater taking a few pot shots at Gent side as well, but they chose not to stop. Interestingly, the other two members of Gent side have gone all the way around Quarry, so I'm expecting them to go south of Hospital. 2 crates you can see on the map at the moment, one in Ruins, which might have been looted. The one in Hospital has definitely not been touched. And now we have Team 1 and 8 in the middle by the sort of runway strips in Gatka. That's Team Finstack versus Team 8 there, formerly Blitz. They're both within sight lines of each other. I can spot, Dodo still doesn't have a helmet, but he has got a DP-28, so if he can do what he did to Andy, to these guys, all he needs is a DP-28. He'll be fine.
Exactly, just on the outside of what I've affectionately heard it called as a chopsticks. I love that call out for this part of the map.
Nice. I am stealing that. That's brilliant.
I think that was Sims actually who made that in the first place. It's brilliant. And of course, with the callouts we're hearing from the map, there's plenty to go forward. Let us know if there's any that you guys like out in chat as well. But as mentioned, Team 1 facing off against Team 8 here. So Finstack with the 4 members, they have an idea of where the rest of Team 8 are, but it's just a case of peeking this out and playing safe for this moment in time. The rest of Gatka, however, going to be the holding place for Penta, as Team 7 Unskilled will be taking some shots over the top of that lip as Team 9 Quick Math moving their way across so many numbers this evening.
Exactly right. And, well, I mean, it's appropriate given their quick math and all, but it appears that we are now officially into vehicle hunting open season. So anyone coming into the circle from this point onwards can realistically expect a barrage of bullets. We can see quick math taking the top of this hill here. And I don't think they want to be doing too much peeking. At the end of the day, oh dear, they're actually still getting shot at frustratingly by Unskilled. Honky actually goes down as well. I keep forgetting how good these guys are. Normally in one of my games, I'd be looking down at that compound going, ha ha. Unfortunately, these guys have a lot better aim than I do.
These guys have a lot better aim than most people who play this game. They're all here for a reason, of course, and the mechanical skill floor here is absolutely insane. Of course, we've seen that ceiling just about be brushed by multiple players this evening, and plenty of our teams looking to do exactly the same. One crate on the outside of Hospital, another Org coming into the game with a compensator. Yes.
By the way, Team 3 and Team 13, that's Team 1, and making plays on the bottom right-hand corner of the circle. It looks like Team 1 have these guys on lockdown, and Towerza is not going to enjoy his way coming into the circle right now. They're doing the smart thing, though, and they're leaving in the vehicles. There really is no point risking death by being one of the last ones into the circle for the sake of one extra possible kill.
Difficult decisions to be made by these teams as the early game rotations make such a huge difference as we enter the mid game, and of course game all about momentum, all about those decisions, and all about keeping one simple roadmap going forwards. Excellent work so far, as we still don't have any teams taken fully out of the equation, but it's Team 7 Unskilled at the second who are looking to try and take Team 14 Penta Sports out of the game. Penta getting up on top of this hill, which is also shared by Alexis on Fire's Quick Math squad. So we could be seeing 3 teams in very close vicinity to one another. Will we be seeing any more combat as our map is shrinking?
Moonwolf! Don't do it, Moonwolf! They're going to get shot at by about 12 different people. Is that possible? Or if they stopped at a compound. Here we go. And Washout gets taken down by Elastics to start things off. A lot of gunfire. They then change their route, but hang on a second. As soon as they change it, someone else is shooting at them. Stab is now shooting at them from out of a UAZ. He's not even in a fixed position at the moment. Gunfire everywhere. Washout gets taken out. And the rest of the squad are alive, but have taken some damage.
Moonwolf still making that move, trying to get to a safer position, but this Mad Max play all along the outside or inside of this circle has taken its toll. The Crazy Cage Man, another member of Method, one of the subs being taken out, and Stab, the other remaining sub of Team Method, being taken out. And a very unfortunate placement for Method in Game 4 as they take place at number 16. Early finish for tonight's games.
Well, from hero to zero from a points perspective, that is bizarre. But at the same time, remember their average placement from the first 3 games is going to allow them a massive bucket haul of points. Yes, this was the worst possible result, but they have been consistently good tonight so far, and they will be rewarded for it. Now, back onto the hill, incredibly close. We have Penta and Moonwolf in extremely close proximity to each other at the moment, and they do not want Moonwolf getting up here at all.
Moonwolf down to 2 players at this moment in time will be facing off against a fully untouched squad of Penta. Of course, we already know who's going to be favoured in any engagements that do pull forward, but Moonwolf looking to pull back, not before Penta start getting their shots down. Snark here going to be taking a few shots, taken down to the skin of his teeth on this one. Does get inside the dart here. Is he going to be able to make it any further? He will not before being ripped out of that driver's seat. O'Connell will have to take cover behind a tree as only 1 player from this squad remains alive here.
Another potential crate coming on down. And, oh, very interesting positioning. That's going to be right next to Great People Only. There is no one else behind them except Pony Rider. They will have spotted the crate, but they have to get to the other side of Ruins before they can pick it up. So potential for a nice fresh crate from GPO here, and they might even be able to add to their 2nd place finish. In the meantime, we have Squad 1 versus Finstack going on in the very middle of the circle. Alternate Attacks gets taken out in the meantime. Still a lot of shots being taken by and towards Timmy's in the middle as well.
Just see this action as it unfolds for us. Finstack, they have plenty of cover to work with. They've got a compound. They have plenty of geographical cover available to them as well. So hills, trees from multiple different angles. Unfortunately, they are in a very open position, and they are definitely spotted by Team 3, also known as... The team's name is 1, but they are Team 3. This is getting very confusing every single time it goes through my mind.
We just need one more team to be called a different number, and then that's it. Caster notes get thrown out the window.
I'm imploding here. It's so difficult at times, but we do have a drop very close to Team 1, or Team 3 here. The purple guys, they're so close to a drop. Let's take a look at what is currently inside that. Will we be having anything that these guys will be kicking themselves if they don't go for? A Groza, yes. So another bullpup rifle.
Tasty, tasty. I would take one of those right now. Absolutely no problem at all. Be great for close quarters, single fire, pinpoint accuracy at long range as well. Who wouldn't want one of those? Zulol doing some Cirque du Soleil kind of stuff with the car. They're just about catching it. 99% gone, I swear. And he is about to walk right past alternate attacks. Oh, that little deflate just saved his life. Because one person being in reach of the vehicle is not going to make it blow up. In the meantime, Finstack try to make the same journey themselves and categorically fail. No one goes down just yet, but they all have to heal up. Oh, as soon as I say that.
In National Opposites Day, the scout gets through safely, but the rest of the team are being scattered at the second. The rest of the team just being hit up so heavily here as 2 players already going down inside this equation, and only 1 player of this stack currently available. That's going to be 0 players of this stack currently available, as only 1 member of Finstack does survive inside this one. Team 3, Team 1, the purple guys, able to secure these kills for themselves on this one, just on the outside of Gatka. They already have knowledge that the scout long gone at this moment in time, so they'll be able to just pick those up for themselves as attacks. Moving on the outside of the circle, away from the gunfire, making a safe rotation in. 15 teams alive here.
Oh, that's awkward. Okay, they chose not to stop.
Good control.
That's fine. Second motorbike coming on in now. That is a 3-man bike. No hit from the UAZ, unfortunately. Everyone go ahead and gets out of the way. Genside, though. Oh, my God. Oh, wait, hang on a second. That's Kygod finishing off a couple of kills. They weren't fresh there. And a teammate are going to go right into the South Triple, as I like to call them. The other triple, of course, being in Georgia Pole crates. Dodo Uncut going to be joining him very shortly, but alternate attacks giving him a scary run for his money.
Genside, very similar to last game. They're able to keep all 4 members available to them. They've got a nice position. 0 kills at this moment in time, so they still have quite a ways to go before catching up to their record from Game 3. And I don't want to curse these guys too much, so I'm sorry,
Stop it.
Syphil, but
Just
let's move
stop
away.
now.
Let's move
Just
away,
stop
Syphil.
Sir,
There we go.
step away from the gent side.
Thank you, production.
All right. Oh, 14-3. Very close by, actually. Penta is going to run straight into Team 1. They are going absolutely head first, and it's because, of course, they are on top of Stalber Mountain. This is going to end up getting messy. Ultra looking like he's going to be the first one to peek up on top. We're looking for Raz Mickey. We're still looking for him over on the left-hand side. Muzzle flash is being seen now. He's a little bit more nervous, coming around the left to see if he can get another flank. He spots Niels, gets Niels. Second player coming down, won't be so lucky to get the headshot that time. I think his helmet might have been blown off as well. Tomil coming up as backup, able to find 3 people. There's only 1 left, and he's way down the mountain at this point. Really tricky because Team 6, ladies and gents, alternate attacks are coming up the other side. Team 1 are going down fast.
It's a deadly freeway going forward, and just like they say, it gets a little bit awkward when you get more in there. So taking a look at this hilltop, we're going to have to see just how attacks and the rest of Penta navigate this situation. They're moving forward, and I am Larry, currently the only real surviving member, going to be taken out as King Kevins is going to be king of the hill, taking it down on the flank itself. Attacks moving on the outside of this as the 2-man squad of Kygod and Grubsy now.
That was smart. They moved down at the point where they realized the other 2 squads were going to fight to the death, and they went, we're going to slink out of here, and they did a very good job of that. Manox getting taken down in the meantime. Where is the rest of Squad 8, actually? So we have Anonymous and Dodo. Oh, they're the guys who went South Triple. Yep, okay. And they're next to Gentside at the moment. They really don't want to pick that fight, but they know that Gentside are there. Gentside can effectively act as gatekeepers right now for Squad 8. So that's not bad.
Stavo.
Oh, that's true, actually. Getting into the next circle is going to be frustrating for them.
Exactly.
They do have a UAS, so they will take a long route round. They have to go south. They can't really go north of here. They're going to run out of space in South George, so they have to go south.
I thought Reaper of Points was going to be doing a 25-point turn for a second there, but he's just managed to block off the entrance to that small little warehouse, so that's going to be quite big for them, adding that extra layer of cover in. Zulul, pretty well covered. I mean, how you doing, buddy? You're just he's having a grand old time.
If he gets a kill while sat there, I will eat my hat.
Are you wearing a hat indoors? It's the least British thing you could be doing, John.
No, I'm not.
Good.
My point still stands.
So, as we move on the outside of this one now, Team 9 still have all 4 members available to them, so quick math would dictate that is pretty good odds going forward. Team 7 unskilled, they're going to be camping this bridge and trying to keep Team 10 GPO out of the circle any further.
So a point that's useful to note, and maybe something for the desk to analyze later, because I don't really know the ins and outs of this right now, but Quick Math were the team that got up onto Stalber Mountain first. They were the first team to Mad Max it up there and survey the land, and they also got out before everyone else got in and really started playing that like that 3-way battle that we saw. So getting out, getting safe, and having all 4 members still alive was obviously a really, really good move by them there, but I did lose track of where they were in the middle. It'll be interesting to hear the desk's thoughts later.
Zargan going dynamite fishing at this moment in time as he knows that Koiran Pasca and Helu are very close by. That's a smoke nade. That's not going to be making anything explosive at this moment in time. Helu did take a little bit of damage there, and Koiran Pasca is going to be taking a hell of a lot of damage in this one, having to pull back underneath the water. This fishing cannot go on for too long, however, as Team 12 of Vanguard very quiet. Since we spoke about them earlier, 4 men inside this compound, and they will be hearing these shots just by that riverbank. They could be gatekeeping this even further.
You want Elastics and Maydai. Everyone watching wants Elastics and Maydai to go join their teammates and go dynamite fishing together. That is absolutely what the stream wants right now. And unfortunately, Vanguard don't realize that that's what they're preventing from happening. So that means that Great People Only will get to continue to dolphin it up. Although, where they go after they get to land is anybody's guess. Oh my god, they don't have to go anywhere. Are you serious?
Well, Gentside attacks Penta. We also have Team 9 of Quick Math, Zulul, the solo player, and plenty more will have to move into the circle very soon, including NIP.
Do you know who this is good for? Team 8, are they still in South Triple? Can we take a quick look at the map? Oh, they're not. Imagine if they were still there, knowing that Genside had to move before them would have been delightful. Sorry, carry on.
Rotation starting to come through. Zulul caught out very early inside this one as NIP, our winners from Game 3, able to make their position in. Kailank from Genside going to be going one-on-one with Nuki, and Nuki is going to be taking it in the cranny for that one as he gets that first kill into this. Andrea does trade back one here. Nuki, the only player left alive, but he's going to be peeking into 2 members. Does try to find whatever he can. That's one finish at the second. He's going to have to go play medic. Vic next to approach on this one, but he's going to have to take a defensive position.
Yeah, he's not sure if they're behind the counter, which is why he didn't just rush around straight away. He's a little worried that as soon as he peeks this main door, someone's going to be there, which is good because obviously they're at the 3rd possible entrance there. So Nuki and Havoki able to get basically healed up. Eggy's staying reasonably far back, and that's to let Vic know if they come around the other side of the house so that he has plenty of angles on the flank.
He heard the move though. Havoki, his position is now given away. Vic has full information from all of these footsteps only on one player. He's got the willingness to assume that the second player has been pulled back up. Vic making it very slow, making the moves around. He's going to be hitting every shot on that one, and Havoki, he's not going to be recovering anytime soon.
What?
Nuki next.
When you shoot through those grates, like those metal grates, do you ever kill anyone? Because I don't. Just saying. Just saying, guys. That's why these guys are pros, okay? I'm slightly salty watching that kill.
Well, these guys, once again, here for a reason. And Genside picking up on this one. Vic will be hearing those footsteps once again. Genside playing it very quietly as Vic starting to move forward. He's going to be hearing the bike.
That's brilliant. Driving the bike through the blue. Genside rushing in case there's an opportunity to take him out there. You can't even see the bike in the smoke right now. What they've effectively done is trade places. That was a great old magic trick that they pulled off there. Beautiful move by Nuki. If he managed to get the kill onto Vic as well, that would have been the perfect maneuver.
Especially from running him over. That would have been the absolute icing on the cake
so
there.
Good.
We are down to a very awkward position from these 2 players, however. Now, Team 9, quick math, Nuki is the only player here. Reaper of Points, one of his teammates, has just been taken down elsewhere, and Alexis on Fire also in a different position entirely as well. So he's completely stuck out in the open, whereas the rest of his team just up on that northwest side. Vic from Genside, he's going to be... I thought that was the player moving for a second. I just got debated. But Vic has to cut him off here. He has to get those shots. He has to land them. One big point of this, however, is a Vanguard central position, compound position, fortified in the center of next circle with no reason to move. Everyone needs to run towards them.
And the funny thing is, Nuki thinks Vic is off to the left. Vic thinks Nuki is in the big house. So as soon as he hears that frag, Nuki's going to realize, oh, I've been looking at the wrong edge. No, not there, inside. Oh, no, and the footsteps have suddenly...
I think it's the bait.
Oh, man. If Nuki takes another few steps, Vic can hear him moving now. The bait worked. Here's all the info you need. Thank you very much. And
he outplayed himself. Micro Uzi versus assault rifle, and it's gonna be the assault rifle from Nuki instead, as he's able to finalize Genside, who are taking 8th position inside this one. Nuki almost outplaying himself with those baits and switches going through, able to get the angles in the end. But it's Grubsy
hurt, man. I held my breath for that entire gunfight.
Nuki still in a solo position, having to regroup with the rest of his squad. He does have the vehicle and he's made the move, but now it's going to be the run, taken dangerously low. One sliver of health available. Does get inside the grass with a little bit of cover available to him. Does have a position of Keen inside that garage. One nade coming down. That's it.
That's going to be that, unfortunately. Nuki, what a hero in this game. A Vanguard going to be taking them out. What a stronghold they have in this final circle. Now they have to be disciplined. They have to not overextend. And oh my god, well, they have to be disciplined. They have to not overextend. Or they can just kill everyone. I guess that works as well, Dutch.
Vanguard are a team to watch coming in. Bear in mind, we cannot take away their performances on LAN. These guys are absolutely insane, and we just need to see that sort of consistency come out from them on the online tournaments. Of course, they do have that position available to them, and teams now starting to run into their location. Attacks losing one member straight away. Reaper of Points and the rest of Quick Math trying to find some solace behind this completely broken camper van here. Anuctive, Mamino, and Drainus inside Garage Building. They are gonna be doing absolute wonders with the nades as they pull out the remaining 2 kills. 2 teams left alive. Not exactly
10
teams.
total kills.
1 versus 4.
This, I mean, Avanga, they've held the compound well. They've done exactly what they need to do. They know it's a 4v1 now. They're actually being a little bit careless with their movements. Mumino gets down as a result. He's going to get revived because there's no way Ultra can push up onto these guys. A little bit, well, I mean, that's a very forward position for an Octave to take. It's difficult for him to actually get rezzed. If he gets down in that position, that's a potentially great frag, but oh my god, we never find out what happens with that because they're so on point with their headshots, you can't even peek.
Vanguard able to take first place in our closing game of the day. At the head of the show, there were huge question marks going on. Will these guys be able to retain their performance that we have seen of late? And, well, they finally pulled it out in Game 4. And they've closed it out on a high note as well. So taking a look through the rest of these guys, however, we do have Penta picking up a 2nd position with Quick Math taking 3rd on the evening. So Attacks pick up 4th, and down in 5th we have Elastics, Jambon and Squad cooking up a good 4 kills to finish it off. And what an incredible set of games we've had today. I really want to know actually who's winning it at the end of the show, so stick around for that.
Exactly right. Just some fantastic games going on all around. And of course, we have NA to follow from PUBG Online. That's going to be it from the casting desk here in EU. I'm Jorisar. With me was Dutch. And you have just watched Game 4, where Avanga managed to pull out the win that they have been waiting for quite a while now. And Penta take a very deserved 2nd place. Desk, over to you.
Thank you very much once again, gentlemen, Jorisar and Daniel Sandal, a.k.a. Dudge, on the cast today. 4 games well casted. Now, EU has come to a close, and it's Avangar finishing off game number 4. You know, I don't want to say I picked them for today or whatever, but, you know, I may have said Avangar. And I have to say, you know, there is something to be said about Avangar and the way they play. It is just, I mean, they just punch you right in the face if you come near them every single time. You know, they had a 14th today. It doesn't always go perfect, but they had a good game 1, finishing off the day-to-day with a win in game number 4. Huge stuff out of them. Cameron, I will go to you first, my friend.
Yeah, just about AVG even. They're not the most intelligent team. Like, it's not like they're super cranial in how they play, like big-brained. But they will just run at you and they will punch you in the face. And it is definitely very entertaining to watch no matter what. But this circle, it looked normal at the start, but it faked out for a Gatka ending, but then completely just juked up to the northwest and cut across to the opposite side of the mountain, as well as the mountain itself. But the mountain took basically the entire southeast side, which basically meant that if you didn't want to have to climb up onto the mountain itself, you had to then rotate around it. And it basically meant that 80 to 90% of the squads in the circle, their real estate, their map control was basically all voided. And outside of the few teams like AVG who were still around the George Bull area, they just had to kind of quickly rotate for something and kind of work with things together. So there were actually very few teams that could really strategize for this ending circle. It was a lot of let's just try and work with what we got, which is why I think it's really cool that Penta are able to get 2nd off of this, because they fought tooth and nail for control of the mountain area, which is brutal. It was a very risky area to play for, because you can be silhouetting all over the place, and it makes rotations outside of off the mountain very difficult. and you can't get that much control, or at least vision and information of your immediate area. It's easy for players to kind of sneak up the mountain if you're not a little too careful. So it's a risky area, but they're able to take control of it, get a second place off of it. But ultimately, this was a little bit of a. See, I don't want to use profanity.
Okay, all right. So, and Poro, I'm going to throw it over to you with a little bit of a question. Okay.
Okay.
In my opinion, that compound is the strongest compound on Arangel. I think that based on the surrounding area. I wanted to know your opinion on how you feel about that, and if there is a circle in that area and you have that, like, to me, it feels like you should win every time.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's when we look at compounds all across the Arangel map, the strongest compounds are the ones that provide you the ability to get on the roof and get the most vision around you, and then B, that just have no trees, no nothing. I mean, that one particular compound, you could see 200, 300, 400 meters in every single direction. Nobody can get anywhere near you without you knowing about it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's an incredibly strong compound to hold. And the fact that Evanker, fought for that compound and then held that compound, they did get the circle luck in that, everything ended right on that compound, of course, because why wouldn't it? But that is an incredibly strong compound. And I think one of the other things that I wanted to bring up, and it's something that Jorisar mentioned in the cast, our third place team, Quick Math, was originally on top of that mountain and decided to get out of there a little bit early, and instead you saw them one player in a crazy 1v1 with Gentside, Vic, who was it? Nookie. Yeah, Nookie and Vic in their wild 1v1 in the garage. But the rest of that team was sitting there at the river, holding that ledge that they could kind of fire from. So that was also a great positioning on their part as well. They didn't end up having to go through all the trials and tribulations that Penta had to go through in order to get down from that mountain to get a placement. So great work by both of them. I'm just loving this replay of the
hopping on the motorcycle.
The little what do you call it? Is it duck goose or ring around the rosy in the smoke? So these guys had to be laughing at each other for this one. But yeah, great performance by Quick Math, actually. Having some rough times today, but coming out with the third place finish here at the end.
Yeah, it was a tough game for them. The split was very interesting, having two players down in the water. We see Alexis on fire and Reaper of points. Great frags coming out from Avangar, and that was something huge. They saw somebody. They don't go for the overhead. They just throw it right to the side of it. They're like, yeah, it's going to hit you. We're just going to throw some frags right to the side of this thing. You have to move out into the open. You don't have a choice. And if you don't, the grenade's going to throw you out into the open. So that's the way they play it, clearing out a lot of pressure that way, and a job well done. Now, Cameron, any closing statements before we head out? Oh, by the way, before I even get to that, NA tonight will be at the regular time, meaning it will be in 2 hours' time. So 2 hours from now, we will play NA. Unfortunately, we're going to be interrupted by the wonderful world of PUBG maintenance. Now, Cameron, go ahead. Any final statements before we run?
This is going to be interesting to see what happens on the standings, because we talked in the very beginning, we had, position 2nd through 6?
We had 2 through 6 in this game,
yeah.
Yes.
And plus, obviously, scatterings of others. Like we also had 9th and 10th.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be interesting on the standings, because those teams were not the most consistent ones. The most consistent ones were, Moonwolf, and Team 8, I think. But there was a lot of parity in the top 5 across even these 4 games. But it's gotta get real tight for the top 16 here.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, everyone, if you are in chat, when you're looking at these leaderboards, right now, if you go to pro.pubgonline.com, I think they're opening the event scoring right this second. It gets closed in like 10 minutes, and you'll see the live leaderboard. Some teams have played more than others based on bye weeks and things like that. So pay attention to the points per game. That's very important. That's the way it's listed right now, because all teams will play 20 games. When you play 20, that is your points per game. Obviously, will make you in first, second, or third. So pay attention to the points per game right now. It is going to be very close, and only the top 16 teams will get into Showdown for split number 2, and they will play another set of 20 games. So it's going to get very, very heated. Mr. Porosaurus, anything from you before we head out on this wonderful Monday?
Well, I'm really excited for tomorrow, and I hope we see all of you guys back here tomorrow because tomorrow we actually get some more of our really big teams in there. We get Liquid to see if they can continue their dominating performance that
Number
they
one
started
right
off
now.
with. Number one, and they still haven't even played that many games yet. And of course, FaZe, Vitality, teams like Crimson, who have been playing very well. So it's shaping up to be a wild ride for these last couple of weeks here to see who's going to make this top 16, and I can't wait.
Absolutely. Well, Cameron, Poor Source, thank you guys very much for joining me. Sifl and Sap, obviously doing all the production stuff. We will have NA live right here, twitch.tv/PUBGOnline in about 2 hours time. I know I'll be there. Poor Source will be here. Cameron, you're off tonight, so smile and wave and watch and do all the things. I love him. It's been a great 4 games. I appreciate everybody watching, all the players for playing, and all the moderators for moderating and all that good stuff. And until then, we will see you tonight for NA.